What's up everyone, how are you all? Today we are back with another amazing Naruto story. What if Naruto was neglected and adopted by the legendary sage of six paths? If you enjoy then please like, share and comments. And also check the description box to Oregon L, creator of this beautiful creation. The history of Uzushiogakure. Uzushiogakure was the shinobi village of the land of whirlpools. Its founder ninja clan the Uzumaki were renowned throughout the world for their great fuinjutsu skills to the point that it led to their destruction during the Second Great Ninja War by the combined forces of Hoshigakure, Kusagakure, Takigakure and an unknown force, but those who survived the village's destruction scattered across the globe seeking refuge. However, before the fall of Uzushiogakure, the daimyo of the land of whirlpools sent his youngest daughter Kushina Uzumaki to Konohagakure so she could become their Jinchuriki for the Nine-Tails Fox, because only someone with a strong body hold it, and every single Uzumaki had one, as they were the descendant of the legendary sage of six paths who was the first god of shinobi and the founder of Ninshu, and his name was Hagoromo Otsusuki. 7 years after the Kyuubi attack. All since Naruto could remember from his earliest memories was that almost every single person in Konoha had treated him worse than dirt, and they call him things like demon spawn, monster, freak, murderer. And when he was 4 years old, the women who run the Konoha's orphanage kicked Naruto out and said, "Demons don't deserve to be taken care of." 2 months after Hiruzen's Embu found Naruto in a dark alley, they then took Naruto to Hiruzen Sarutobi, the third Hokage, where he set up an apartment for Naruto at the red light district, and sometimes the villagers would even attack him, and all Hiruzen would do was send them to jail for just one night and then let them go scot-free because of the civilians council would cause trouble for Hiruzen if he did anything to them. But today, on Naruto's 7th birthday, a mob of villagers decided that they were going to finally kill Naruto. The current time. Ever since Naruto could remember from his earliest memories was that almost every single person in Konohagakure has treated him worse than even dirt, and they have called him things like demon spawn, monster, freak, murderer. And when he was 4 years old, the women who run the Konoha's orphanage kicked Naruto out, saying, "Demons don't deserve to be taken care of." It was 2 months before the third Hokage Hiruzen Sarutobi Enbu Black Ops found Naruto in a dark alley, cold, scared and hungry, so they then took Naruto straight to Hiruzen's office, where he set up an apartment for Naruto to live in at the red light district. However, sometimes the villagers would even attack Naruto, and all Hiruzen would do to them is send them to jail for just one night and then let them go scot-free because of the civilians council would cause trouble for Hiruzen if he did anything else to them for defending themselves from the demon. But today was different. On Naruto's 5th birthday, a mob of villagers had designed that they were going to finally kill Naruto. It was late at and Naruto was walking home from Ichiraku Ramen, his most favorite place, before the two chunin who were hired by the mob, and where they were promised that if they bring Naruto without being caught, they would promote them to Jonin rank with their connections to the civilian council. So when they found Naruto, they quickly dragged him into a nearby dark alley before knocking him out cold and took him to where the mob told them to meet up with them, which was in an abandoned warehouse near the outskirts of Konoha. And once they handed Naruto over to the mob, they immediately began to beat on him brutally. As the mob continued their attack on Naruto, something within him changed, and suddenly a bolt of lightning came down from the sky, hitting Naruto directly as well as the mob that were surrounded him, and as the dust cleared, it revealed that Naruto was unharmed from the lightning bolt. However, it cannot be said for the people who were closest to Naruto, as they wasn't so lucky because they were dead and their bodies were completely burnt, and as for the people who a bit further away, they received burn marks all over their bodies, and as for the rest of the mob, they just stood there and stare in complete shock and were also scared shitless that if they did anything, even move an inch, something might happen to them as well. But then something else surprising happened. Naruto stood up, and as he did, the mob saw that all the bruise and cuts they given to him began to heal themselves, and soon not even a scar was visible. And then they saw Naruto's eyes, and instead of his normal bright blue eyes, they were pale purple with a ripple pattern that spreads over his eyeballs. The mob then tried to run away like cowards, seeing that things have turned around for the worst for them, but then black hand-sized orbs appeared behind Naruto and flew past him, hitting every single one of mob and made them suffer beyond imagination before it finally killing them. Then the black orbs disappear and Naruto's eyes turn back to their normal color before Naruto pass out on the floor. Within Naruto's mind, suddenly Naruto's eyes snap open and he found himself in an unknown place. It was dark but light was shining from the ocean. "Where am I?" Naruto said to himself. "I see that you are finally awake." "Good," said a voice behind Naruto. Naruto quickly turned around and saw a tall and pale-skinned old man, who had deep wrinkles and a strong jawline. His eyes were pale purple with a ripple pattern that spreads over his eyeballs. He had spiky, shoulder-length, pale red hair, with a chin-length, braided lock hanging in front of his left ear. He had a goatee which went down to his waist. The old man had a pair of horn-like protrusions extending from either side of his forehead, and he also had a red marking in the center of his forehead which was a ripple pattern just like his eyes. He wore a white, full-length kimono with a pattern of 6 black magatama around a high collar, beneath which, he wore a necklace which was also made up of 6 black magatama. On the back of his kimono was a larger, black horizon of his eyes marking with a pattern of 9 magatama arranged in 3 rows of 3 beneath it. However, what was the most strangest thing was that the old man wasn't standing, instead he was hovering above the ground with 9 black orbs below him. "Hello Naruto Uzumaki," said the old man. "Who are you, mister, and how do you know my name?" Naruto asked curiously. "My name is Hagoromo Otsusuki, and the reason why I know your name is because you are a very important person," said Hagoromo. "Me? Important? You got to be wrong, mister, I'm a nobody," said Naruto. "But that's where you are very wrong, Naruto, because you see that you are extremely important to this world," said Hagoromo. "I'm extremely important to the world," said Naruto. "Because I have seen it within you," said Hagoromo. "Within me? What do you mean, mister?" said Naruto. "These eyes of mine can see your very soul, and by seeing it I am able to see your potential, Naruto," said Hagoromo. "My potential?" said Naruto. "Yes, and I am able to see that you are capable of changing this world for the better," said Hagoromo. "I can change this world," said Naruto. "Yes, you can. However, after seeing all the horrors that you have gone through, I have decided that I will help you, Naruto," said Hagoromo. "Really? But I don't know who you are," said Naruto. "Then let me fix that. As I said, my name is Hagoromo Otsusuki and I was the sage of 6 paths and the creator of this shinobi world," said Hagoromo. "What? You were the who created ninjutsu?" Naruto shouted. "No, I was the one who created ninshu. It was my elder son Indra who changed it and made it into ninjutsu that you know today," said Hagoromo. "Ninshu? I never heard that before," said Naruto. "It has been lost to time and the only remnants of it is ninjutsu," said Hagoromo. "Why's that?" said Naruto. "Because people desired power and ninjutsu is just that, but that's not improvement right now, my boy, as I have watch over this world ever since my death, and throughout everything I have seen in this world, you are one of the most unlucky being I have ever seen to be able to endure all the pain from your villagers," said Hagoromo. "I don't know why they hate me so much," said Naruto. "It is because you hold one of my children within you," said Hagoromo. "One of your children within me? What do you mean?" Naruto asked. "On the day of your birth one of my children attacked the Hidden Leaf village but was stopped by your 4th Hokage by putting my child inside of you," said Hagoromo. "But I heard that the 4th Hokage killed the 9 tails 5 years ago," said Naruto. "No, he didn't. A normal human being cannot truly take down one of my children even if how gifted they might be, so he did something else. He sealed Kurama within you, Naruto," said Hagoromo. "Then what the villagers say is true. I really am a monster," said Naruto. "Oh no, you are not, my boy. You see, you are just a sealing scroll and Kurama is the kunai seal inside of it," said Hagoromo. "Who is Kurama?" Naruto asked curiously. "That's the 9-tailed fox. True name is," said Hagoromo. "Then he's the monster, not me," said Naruto. "No, he is not, and the reason why he attacked your village is because of Masked Man took control over him and ordered Kurama to do it," said Hagoromo. "A masked man? Who is he?" said Naruto. "That is something I don't know. Someone or something has prevented me finding out the truth," said Hagoromo. "Preventing you? But how?" said Naruto. "I don't know how, but this isn't the first time I sended something working in the shadows causing chaos in the world," said Hagoromo. "Causing chaos in the world?" said Naruto. "Yes, which is why I have decided to stop it, though you," said Hagoromo. "Though me? But I'm just a kid," said Naruto. "That is true, but I have a way to help you, Naruto," said Hagoromo. "Help me get stronger? How?" said Naruto. "It's actually rather simple, really. I will give you all of my power, Naruto," said Hagoromo. "Give me your power? How's that possible?" Naruto asked curiously. "You just have to take hold of this," said Hagoromo. Suddenly out of nowhere Black Kakara staff appeared in front of Naruto. "By taking hold of this, all of my knowledge, power and even my abilities, which people now call bloodlines, will be transferred over to you," said Hagoromo. "What, really?" Naruto asked curiously. Yes, and I know that your parents had sealed the last bit of their chakras into you, and so I will use it and grant you all of their knowledge as well, said Hagoromo. After think about it for a little while, Naruto desire and reach out and took hold of the Kakara, and just as he did he felt his head was about to explode with all the knowledge transferring over to him, and when it was finally over Naruto fell down onto the floor. There, it is finally done. I look forward to see what will you do with your new power, said Hagoromo. Konoha's hospital. Naruto slowly opened his eyes and found himself in his familiar hospital room and was laying down on a familiar bed. Naruto realized that this was the hospital room where he would be taken to after the villagers' attacks, but just the door opened and it revealed the third Hokage Hiruzen Sarutobi, who walked in. Arranged by Naruto. My boy, you're finally awake. I was worried, Hiruzen said in a kind tone. What happened? Naruto asked whilst he rubbed both of his eyes. My Anbu found you unconscious inside a warehouse, said Hiruzen. Oh yeah, said Naruto. Naruto, there were dead bodies of villagers all around you and they were burnt to a crisp. Tell me honestly what happened in that warehouse, Hiruzen asked serious. I can tell him most of the truth except for the parts about my bloodline and the Kyuubi. I don't know what he may do to me if he found out the truth, Naruto thought to himself. All I remember was that I was walking home from Ichiraku Ramen before two men dragged me to a dark alley and knocking me out, and when I woke up I was surrounded by a mob, then all of them attacked me, then everything went dark and now woke up here, said Naruto. I know that the Kyuubi didn't take control of him or everyone in the village would have felt its dark chakra, so what happened to those villagers and why do I feel Naruto is hiding something from me? He would never hide something from me, he trusts me completely. I better place some Anbu to keep track of him just in case, thought Hiruzen. Hey Hokage-san, I don't feel bad or hurt, can I go? Naruto asked in a hurry. Yes you can, Naru. Wait, did you just call me Hokage-san instead of old man? Hiruzen asked in shock. Yeah, you don't want to hear me calling you old man now, do you, Hokage-san? Naruto said as he put up his clothes. No, you're right, I don't, but still, Hiruzen said confused. Okay, I got to go, said Naruto as he rushed out of the hospital room. Now I know there's something wrong with this, I better order my Anbu to keep an eye on him right away, Hiruzen said to himself. With Naruto was running towards something every special place and away from the hospital because of two reasons. First was that now that Naruto has both of Minato's and Kushina's memories, he now where his real home was the Uzumaki clan compound where his mother grew up when she first came to the village from her home village Uzushiogakure, a village created by the Uzumaki clan but was destroyed during the Third Great Ninja War. And the second reason why Naruto left in a hurry was that now he know the truth. He didn't know what to think about the Hokage. He keep the truth about where Naruto truly come from, why the villagers hated him so much, and where he true home was. Sure, the Hokage protected him so that the villagers didn't try to kill him until now, but the Hokage never did anything to them and always told him to forgive them or try to understand them after everything they did to him. As Naruto got closer to the compound, he ran past a couple of sakura trees, and as he looked at them he started to remember something happened that he wasn't involved in, and it was about back when his mother just moved to Konohagakure. She was bullied by boys in her class because of her red hair, and one day one of the bullies grabbed it and started to pull it, but Kushina had enough and started to beat up all the bullies, and Naruto's father, Minato, was watching everything. However, later that day as Kushina made her way home though the sakura trees, the bully who pulled her hair stopped her alongside his older brother who was a genin, and the older brother beat Kushina up and told her that the village will never accept any outsiders. But just like before in the classroom, Kushina had enough and started to beat the older brother up as well as give him two black eyes, and then she beat the little brother again, and once she was finished she looked up and saw Minato standing on a tree branch watching the whole event. But because Naruto now had all of his memories, he knew that when Minato was walking home he saw the brothers and overheard them talking about what they going to Kushina, so Minato decided he wasn't going to allow that to happen. But once he got to the sakura trees he watched as Kushina beat the brothers up. When Naruto finally reached the Uzumaki clan compound, he saw that it was the same size as the Uchiha clan and Hyuga clan compounds, with a large wall that surrounded the compound and haven't weakened over the years since no one has lived there and taken care of it. And as Naruto walked to the only gate, which was large and had no handles but instead it had a seal which most cover it, but Naruto knew thanks to his parents' memories that the seal was designed to allow only clan members and other people who got permission from clan members, and all they had to do was put a drop of blood on the center of the seal to open gates, and they only had to do that once because after they would be allow entry all the time. So Naruto bit his thumb hard enough which caused it to bleed, then he put a drop of blood on the center of the seal which caused it to glow, then the gates open. Naruto then looked drop at his thumb, wondering where could he find something to cover it until it heal itself, but was surprised when he saw that there wasn't anything wrong with it, like he didn't just bit his thumb and made it bleed, which made he wonder sure he heal fast before but never this fast, but now wasn't the time to think about it, instead it was time to see his home. As Naruto entered the compound he saw that the style for it was traditional fashion like many other clan compounds in Konoha. Think traditional Japanese style. It had the Uzumaki clan symbol on the inside of the wall that surrounded the compound, and all the tiles on the roof of each building were red, and as Naruto walked around the compound he saw that it has a large dining room, a kitchen, living room, a garden, a large natural garden pond with wooden bridge which was painted red going over it, a training yard, a very large library, a large armory where the Uzumaki clan kept their weapons, a storerooms, a large safe where the Uzumaki clan kept its most powerful items, and many bedrooms and 2 master bedroom as well as many bathrooms nearby. As Naruto continued to walk around the compound he saw his bedroom, the room that if his parents were still alive and he was raised here in the Uzumaki clan compound would have been his, but because of the event that happened on his birth alongside the Kyuubi attack caused him not to. I'm almost truly home, Naruto said to himself. Later that day Naruto tested himself using the Flying Thunder Jutsu to see if he had good control over it, to which he found that he did, meaning that he could use it to escape from Konoha as soon as possible by teleporting himself to Minato's teleport spot that was closest to the land of Whirlpool, Naruto's ancestor homeland, and lucky for Naruto, Minato did a teleport spot near on the border of the land of fire. Afterwards Naruto went back to his apartment and seal up everything that he owned before teleporting back to the compound, but not before creating a shadow clone to stay in Konoha so Naruto could reach the land of Whirlpool without Konoha knowing. On that night Naruto left Konoha and teleported to Minato's waypoint and made his way to the land of Whirlpool, where he discovered that the village was in ruins, and from what he could see it has been like this for many years. I'm truly home, Naruto said happily. After looking around for a bit Naruto decided it was time. I better get started, said Naruto. Naruto looked down at his palms and saw the light-colored, sun-like marking on his right palm and the dark-colored, crescent moon-like marking on his left palm. Then Naruto ready his hands and turn on his Rinnegan like he had it for years. Yin-yang style. Arc of time restore, Naruto said as he clapped his hands, and suddenly a great light was emitted from which then covered all of Uzushiogakure, and when it was finally over Uzushiogakure was restored but to what it was before the combine attack on it. It's kind of obvious, but the arc of time is a time-space ninjutsu in this story law. Let's make this place great again, Naruto said to himself. 5 years later. It has over 5 years since Naruto became the new sage of 6 paths, escape from Konoha and live in restore Uzushiogakure. He had been busy because throughout the years Naruto had become known throughout the world despite being so young, and instead he was calling himself Naruto Otsusuki, where he is a skill ronin. Naruto had also recruited many allies and used Uzushiogakure for his base. He knew that Hiruzen, Jiraiya Naruto's godfather, and Danzo Shimura the head of Root would be hunting him down, so he decided to change both his name and apprentice a bit as well. When wasn't in Uzushiogakure, so he wore a cloth mask to hide with a seal on it that changes his appreciate whenever he put it on, and it made his skin pale and pale red hair. It also makes his hair go into the same style as Zareth from Fairy Tail. And as for his eyes, they turned into a dark purple color. But Naruto's true apprentice was that his hair was in the same shaggy style similar to Minato's hair, but his bright blonde hair that he got from Minato had turned into a more lighter blonde. His eyes had become a more lighter shade of blue within slanted with slit pupilled. He is now 5'4" tall. Because of all his training and now having a good food supply, his body had become slim yet slightly toned. Naruto wears the same outfit for both his true and fake identities, a high-collared black and tan robes with gold trim, along with a large, flowing white toga draped around his torso. To honor his clan he had a dog tag around his neck and that the symbol for the Uzumaki clan on it. He also had 2 seals on his wrists and he had armbands to cover them, and on his left wrist was one designed to stop the Hyuga clan bloodline, the Byakugan, being able to see their chakra network so they can't close them. It was similar to the seal that stopped anyone with the Byakugan to see inside the Uzumaki clan compound, and on his right wrist was one decided to stop the Uchiha clan's bloodline, the Sharingan, being able to copying any of their jutsus or techniques. The first person to join up with Naruto and the most shock was a man known as Log Senju, and he was created as a synthetic human by his father Orochimaru. being cultivated from an embryo, and was given the name Mitsuki until Naruto free him, and he then changed it to Log later on after, and the person that Orochimaru chose to be his mother was none other than his former teammate Tsunade Senju. The reason why Orochimaru created him was to continue his legacy if something happened to Orochimaru or become Orochimaru's vessel, but Log was set free by Naruto when he came to Orochimaru's southern hideout in the Land of Waves and free all the other prisoners who Orochimaru used for his experiments. The second person to join was Yoda of the Kurasuki clan, and he wasn't alive when Naruto first met him because he had died 5 years before Naruto was born. He had died by natural causes due to his frail body, but he was later revived by Orochimaru as a test subject in his research on the impure world reincarnation technique, which was a kinjutsu created by the second Hokage Tobirama Senju. Yoda was sent to Konohagakure on Orochimaru's command, where he met Choji of the Akamichi clan, Shikamaru of the Nara clan, and Ino of the Yamanaka clan. Later on he met other children from the Leaf. However, Yoda knew that he was going to return to the land of the dead, so he erased their memory of him, preventing them being sad when he leaves them. However, after he left, Yoda ran into Naruto, who had returned to Konohagakure only to retrieve the Shinigami mask that belonged to the Uzumaki clan, and when he met Yoda he saw that Aur wasn't actually alive, so Naruto used the outer path, samsara of heavenly life technique, to bring Yoda truly back to life, giving him a second chance at life, and as Naruto offered Yoda a place at Uzushiogakure, which he happily accepted. The third person was another who also dead like Yoda, but he died recently and he joined not to after Yoda joined. His name was Shisui of the Uchiha clan, or otherwise known as Shisui the Teleporter, a shinobi of the Hidden Leaf Village. Shisui and his best friend Itachi Uchiha, the eldest son of the Uchiha clan head Fugaku Uchiha, were secretly working for Konoha to prevent the Uchiha clan from starting a coup to overthrow the Konoha leadership, which would have ended up creating a civil war within Konoha. Their plan was for Shishi to use his Mangekyo Sharingan and perform the Koto Amatsukami, a powerful genjutsu technique which allows the user to enter the mind of any individual within their field of view and manipulate them by giving them false experiences, making it seem as if they were doing things of their own free will. However, as Shisui prepared to make his move, Danzo Shimura, the leader of an organization known as Root within Konoha, believing that simply manipulating the Uchiha's leader wouldn't end the conflict and that he would eventually try to manipulate him as well, chose to take Shisui's eyes for himself in the desire to protect the village in his own way. While Shisui effortlessly subdued Danzo at first, the ruthless elder caught Shisui off guard by using the forbidden technique known as Izanagi with another Sharingan he had already obtained to break free and steal Shisui's right eye. As Danzo and his men surrounded Shisui to take his remaining eye, Shisui managed to escape and met up with Itachi and told him what has happened, fearing that Danzo was right in Shisui's inability to stop the Uchiha's revolt and that the elder would continue to pursue his left eye as well. Shisui entrusted it to Itachi, telling him to protect both the village and the Uchiha name before committing suicide, which awoke in Itachi's own Mangekyo Sharingan. When Naruto heard about Shisui, he thought on how useful of a shinobi like he would be for Uzushiogakure, so after obtained Shisui's body and performed the outer path, samsara of heavenly life technique, but in a different way from what he did with Yoda, and brought Shisui back to life, and then he used his Yang seal on his right palm to recreate Shisui's eyes as well, make sure that they would never go blind by making them similar to that of Indra's Sharingan eyes, and afterwards Naruto offered Shisui a place at Uzushiogakure as well as the chance for revenge against Danzo for what he did, to which Shisui agreed to. What I am saying is that Yoda meet Shikamaru, Choji and Ino not long after the Uchiha clan massacre, where Naruto came back to Konohagakure to get the Shinigami mask, and later he brought both Yato and Shisui back to life. The fourth was Sebastian, a highly skilled and talented man who was known throughout the world as the god of death. Back when he was in his prime, both Sebas and Hiruzen Sarutobi were offered the chance to gain the title of god of shinobi, but Sebas turned it down, so the title was given to Hiruzen. And back when Naruto was traveling around the world, he met Sebastian and managed to convince Sebastian to join Uzushiogakure. The fifth was a gang of missing nin Fushin, Chino and Karyu, all who used to serve a man known as En Oyashiro before they managed to escape from his mansion and form the Lightning Group, which they started helping the villagers of the Bamboo Village by stealing money and other valuables from the rich and giving it to the poor villagers. In return, the group was given food and shelter until Kirigakure frequently employed the Lightning Group during Yagura's reign. However, later on Yagura decided to eliminate the group in order to increase the relationship with the Frost Daimyo. The group escaped from the assassination attempt but was betrayed by the villagers it helped out of fear of retaliation from Kirigakure. However, Naruto saved them from the Kiri ninjas and then recruited them, as well as helped them get their revenge on the bamboo village and helped the other people who were still at Oyashiro mansion, which afterwards they did join Naruto as well. They also stole the entire mansion thanks to Naruto using the enhanced Verizon of the Flying Thunder Jutsu to teleport it to the land of Whirlpool. Sixth was all the shinobis that like the lightning group used to be were owned by rich noblemen and women like Oyashiro and were forced to fight against others for money until Naruto and his allies free them all, and they stole all of the noblemen and women money and allow their former servants to decide what to do with them and offer them to join up as well, which every single one of them agreed to. Unlike what Naruto did, he went to all of their mansions, free the others as well as steal the entire mansion and teleported to the land of Whirlpool. Naruto had also created advanced human-like puppies thanks to the knowledge from Hagoromo that he was able to make them and which he can control easily, and they will be able to work by themselves without him or anyone around and have the power to weld energy blasts for attacks by use the small versions of the energy vessel orb that was inside of them and gave them an ability similar to people who were sensor type to help them to find anyone. They are stronger and faster than normal human being as well. Most trained shinobi, like all shinobi puppets, they contain weapons within, and with the advanced fuinjutsu known as enchantments they can act like human beings. They all look identical to the other and they all worn the same outfit, a black kimono with hood, black gloves, black boots, 6 white magatama on their chest, wrap bandage around their head, face, arms, legs, and on their hood they had a black sash around their head and a golden Uzumaki clan crest in the middle. Together Naruto and Sebas created an organization of shinobi and samurai which they took jobs called just like the ninja villages, but they didn't have loyalty to the nobles of any lands yet, and this organization was called this organization of theirs Legion. Uzushiogakure is a large island with several smaller islands surrounding it and was surrounded by tall rock wall. It looks just like the kingdom of Sindria from Magi the Labyrinth of Magic. And it had couple large mansions which used to be owned by the wealthy noble men and women before Naruto freed their shinobis and took their mansion, then turned them into apartments for their shinobi if they wished to live there, and clan compounds housing the clans that Naruto managed to convince to join Uzushiogakure and Legion, like Uryuki the Ice Mistress for mastery over her ice release bloodline and many other powerful people. At Uzukage Mansion, Naruto was sitting on the Uzukage throne and stood in front of him was Sebas the god of death. His appearances was an elderly butler and he is dressed gracefully in his traditional black uniform. His hair is entirely white, just like his immaculate beard. He has visible wrinkles on his hollow face, which makes him seem gentle in appearance, but his eyes are as sharp as an eagle's. Sebas, I think it's time for us to start making alliance with other lands, said Naruto. I believe you're right, said Sebas. I think we should start with somewhere small, said Naruto. That is a good idea, but which one? Said Sebas. The Land of Waves. It is knowledge for it being one of the best countries for shipping, and they don't have any ninjas or samurai of their own, and they ain't alliance with any village, so they will be perfect to start with, said Naruto. I see that as a good start. And who will go? Said Sebas. I will, and I know how to convince them to join us, said Naruto. And that is? Sebas asked curiously. The country is currently being bullied by Gato, the head of Gato Company, and his army of thugs. They even killed the daimyo of the Land of Waves, so killing Gato will make the people of the Land of Waves would make them happy with us for killing him, and they will be happy to make alliance with us, and besides I already have a way to get close to Gato, said Naruto. Which is? Said Sebas. Gato has been trying to get in touch with Night Raid, so I'll use that to get close to him and learn anything useful before killing, said Naruto. A well-thought-out plan as always, Naruto, said Sebas. Thank you, Sebas. Could you stay here and keep order? Said Naruto. Of course, said Sebas. A couple days later, Naruto was currently walking through the forest in the Land of Waves towards hidden headquarters. As Naruto looked at it, he saw that it wasn't a tall building, but he guessed Gato had built it underground inside, and this part was just the entrance. But the thing that still caught his attention was that ever though he can see the base, he still couldn't sense anyone from it, which is strange, so he decided to investigate about it to see if it could be useful in the future. So Naruto then slammed his right hand down to the ground. Summoning just you, said Naruto as a seal appeared on the ground around his right hand, and in a proof of smoke a dark purple snake with the Rinnegan eyes appeared. Go to Gato's base, said Naruto, and the snake did just that. As Naruto and the snake got closer to Gato's hideout, Minno's disappointed. Hey kid, what the hell are you thinking of being here? Said one of the two large guards standing outside the entrance. I'm here to see Gato, said Naruto. Yeah, said who? Said the same guard. He ordered me to come here, said Naruto. What if I don't believe you? What then? Said the same guard. I don't care if you believe me or not, let us though now, said Naruto. Ha, and you're going to make me, said the same guard. A sinister smile came upon Naruto before he spoke, hell yeah, and then he just vanishing. The two guards were shocked only for a second before Naruto reappeared at the left side of the guard who spoke to him and sent a strong kick at his left arm which broke it. Arrrrrrr. The guard shouted in pain and the other guard just stood there in shock. So are you going to let us though? Said Naruto at the other guard. Why yeah, oh of course, said the other guard scared for what he just saw. Inside of a room, as Snake made its way in Gato's base, it went into and hid in the shadows just in case it saw a man resting on a bed whilst the boy that saved Zabuza's life and wasn't wearing a mask so anyone could see that he had brown eyes and that he was sitting down next to Zabuza peeling apples until a small man who was wearing a business suit on and had sunglasses on with two other men that had swords strapped on them. Zabuza, I have heard from my men that Tazuna is still alive. Why is that? Said the small man. I underestimate the shinobi that Tazuna has hired Gato, said Zabuza. When I hire you I expected results, you being the demon of the mist, after all, said Gato. Don't worry about it, I got a plan you see, said Zabuza. Oh what is it? Said Gato. Simple really, we let them get close to finish the bridge but then Haku and I come in and kill the Konoha ninjas and Tazuna, then we destroy the bridge which will destroy any remaining hope that these people have left, said Zabuza. Yes, that would work perfectly, said Gato. Gato then started to walk towards Zabuza. However Zabuza, if you do fail me again then neither you or your assistants will leave this land alive, said Gato as he reached out to grab Zabuza's face. But as he did, the boy that was sitting next to Zabuza quickly grabbed Gato's wrist and broke it. Gato screamed in pain. Don't you lay a finger on Zabuza-san, said the boy. Gato's bodyguards both went and was about to grab their swords but Gato used his other hand to tell not to and then he went towards the door. Just make sure everything goes accordingly, planned Zabuza, or else, said Gato before he left the room. Sometime later with Naruto at Gato's throne room. Naruto stood in front Gato who was currently sitting on his throne with his two samurai bodyguards at both sides and the room was filled with Gato's men as well. When I contacted the Legion organization I wanted some strong ninjas and samurais but instead they only sent me a single child, shouted Gato angrily. Hey boss, I don't think you should underestimate this kid, I heard a lot of things about him, said Zori. Oh really, but first you broke one of my guards' arm, care to explain that boy, said Gato. He wouldn't let us pass in any way, if a child could break him arm so easily he wouldn't be a good guard now would he, said Naruto. You're right in that I don't have to pay him, said Gato. Fine then I'll give you a chance but you better be worth every ryo, said Gato. I am so going to enjoy killing him, Naruto thought. Now kid, I want you to kill the bridge builder Tazuna as well as the Konoha ninjas that he hired, said Gato. Konoha? Naruto thought angrily. Actually I have a better idea, said Naruto. Oh what is it? Gato asked curiously. It's simple really, we let them get close to finish the bridge but then Haku, Zabuza and I come in and kill Tazuna as well as the Konoha ninjas and then finally we destroy the bridge which will destroy any remaining hope of fighting against you that these people have left, said Naruto. Yes, that would work perfectly, Gato said smiling evilly. That night, as Naruto was stealthy walking down a hallway in Gato's base until he finally came to Gato's vault where he kept everything that he has taken from the villagers and other things, however it was heavily guarded and it had advanced lock on it and the only way to get in was with a unique key that no doubt that Gato kept on him all time. However it wasn't nearly enough to stop Naruto from getting inside as he quickly teleported inside the vault. As he walked around in the vault he saw books, paintings, statues, large bags of money, and then Naruto saw it in the middle of the room, a light green glowing crystal orb that had red seals all over it. This is it, said Naruto as he looked at the orb. These seals and this orb are similar to the ones at the compound and around my wrist, but there is couple of differences. This is probably the thing which is preventing me and anyone else from sensing anyone here, but if that the case, why does Gato have something like this? Perhaps a shinobi that he hired informed him about it and he decided to use it, so if anyone sends any assassins after him they wouldn't be able to find him, thought Naruto. Naruto decided that he come back later on, take only Gato's money whilst giving all the villagers their money that was taken from them, which will make it even easier to get them to make an alliance with Legion, and he will also take the orb and use it for Uzushiogakure must. Then he undid his summon, returning it to where it came from before he teleported out of the vault. That went well, Naruto said himself. Afterwards Naruto went over to Zabuza and Haku room. Zabuza Momochi, the demon of the mist, and Haku Yuki, said Naruto. Who are you? Said Haku. My name is Naruto Otsusuki and I wish to talk with both of you, said Naruto. I have heard about this kid, he's a member of Legion, thought Zabuza. Fine, what exactly do you want from us? Said Zabuza. I'm here with an offer for you too, said Naruto. A offer? What kind of offer? Said Zabuza. A place within my village, said Naruto. Your village? So Legion does have connection with a village, so which one? Said Zabuza. Uzushiogakure, Naruto said, shocking Zabuza. Impossible. Uzushio was destroyed during the Second Great Ninja War, said Zabuza. Correct, but Legion and I have rebuilt it and we have been gathered many allies, said Naruto. You rebuilt Uzushio but you're just a brat, said Zabuza. Age doesn't matter in the world of shinobi, only power, said Naruto. Fair enough Haku, what do you think? Said Zabuza. I would follow you anyway Zabuza-san, said Haku. In fact Haku, I already have many your clansmen's a part of my village, Naruto said, shocking Haku. But I thought I was the last of my clan, said Haku. No, just like what your mother did, many others also survived as well, said Naruto. It would be nice to get stop running. Alright fine, we'll join, said Zabuza. Perfect, now I can give you this, Naruto said as he reached his pocket and brought bag, and he then took out a small green bean that was inside. Here you got, Naruto said before he threw it Zabuza, who caught it. What is this? It's just a bean, said Zabuza. Just trust me and eat it, said Naruto. Alright, said Zabuza. As Zabuza ate and swallowed the small green bean, he immediately the effects from it that all of his wounds and chakra were fully restored and he didn't felt hungry at all. What the hell? What kind of bean was that? Zabuza said, amazed. That was a senzu bean. It's something that we have been growing at the land of Whirlpool, and as you can see it has very unique properties, said Naruto. Yes, this is the senzu beans from Dragon Ball. With something like this food rations won't be a problem, said Zabuza. Anyways, you two will stay here for now, as the true reason why I am here is to get the Land of Waves to form alliance with us, said Naruto. I see, how exactly do you intend to do that? Zabuza asked. You see, said Naruto. The next day below the bridge. As Naruto, Haku and Zabura arrive at the unfinished bridge, they saw men still working on it. Don't kill anyone, it will make it easier for the people to join our land if they don't have any hate towards it, Naruto told them, which they agreed to. Water style. Hiding mist jutsu, said Zabura. As Zabura finished, a mist appeared covering the area where the men are working, then Naruto and the others went into it, and because they have been trained in mist they would able to find the men easily and knock them out. They waited a couple minutes until they heard people coming. What the hell happened here? Said an old man. Kakashi Hitaki had spiky silver hair and dark gray eye. He wore a mask over the nose and lower half of his face. He was wearing a flak jacket, dark blue pants, and a long sleeve shirt. He also wears fingerless gloves with metal plates on the backhand and is seen with a chain necklace underneath. Kakashi Hitaki was a famous shinobi of the Hidden Leaf Village and the was remaining members student of the 4th Hokage Minato Namikaze. There is no denying it is Zabura, said a man with gray color hair. Sorry for keeping you waiting Kakashi, however I see that those brats of yours are still trembling in fear. How pitiful. Zabuza's voice came somewhere within the mist. Sasuke had black hair, boy wearing a blue shirt with a high collar and black shorts. On the back of his collar was the Uchiha clan symbol. Sasuke was the only remaining member of the Uchiha clan before his own brother killed everyone including their parents, and that brother name was Itachi Uchiha. Sasuke was the last remaining member of the Uchiha clan in Konoha after his own brother killed everyone else in their clan including their parents. It's because I'm trembling in excitement, said Sasuke bravely. "Oh, you're different from last time, boy," Zabuza said within the mist. Just then Zabuza and Haku appeared. However, Zabuza was wearing a black sleeveless shirt and matching pants, complete with a waist guard, striped wrist and leg warmers, and the bandages around his face were loosely like a scarf, and Haku was wearing the same outfit that he wore when he saved Zabuza. "It's time to end our match, Kakashi," said Zabuza. "Sakura, you stay close to Tazuna and guard while Sasuke and I handle Zabuza and his partner," said Kakashi. Sakura had long pink hair which reached down to her lower back and was wearing tight dark green shorts that stopped over her knees. She has a red kipao dress on with white circular designs which also has short sleeves. Sakura of the Haruno family, which was a large civilian family which had many connections to other rich civilian families of Konoha. Sakura was from the Haruno family, which was a large civilian families that had connections, and Sakura's mother Mebuki Haruno was a member of the civilian council. "Sai, you'll handle the new kid, just be carefully, we don't know anything about him," said Kakashi. Sai Shimura has short, straight black hair, and dark eyes which contrast with his translucent-looking pale skin. He is usually seen carrying a small backpack with his brush, scrolls, and ninja ink in it. He wears a short black and gray jacket with red straps. He also carries a tip-less tanto on his back. The rest of his outfit consisted of a high-collared midriff shirt, black pants, shinobi sandals and gloves with his index and thumb fingers exposed. Most likely to facilitate the use of his drawing-based techniques, his jacket had short left sleeves. "Actually, Kakashi, you may have heard about him," said Zabura pointing at Naruto. "For starters, his name is Naruto Otsusuki and he's a member of Legion," said Zabura, shocking them even more. "That's Naruto Otsusuki, but he just a kid the same age as these three," thought Kakashi. "Enough for this talk, let us finish what we came here to do and fight," said Zabura. Just then 4 Zabuzas appeared surrounding Kakashi, Sasuke, Sakura and Tazuna. However, as the clones tried to attack, Sasuke used kunai to cut them up, turning them back into puddles of water. "I can see it now," thought Sasuke. "Oh, so you can see that they were water clones. This genin has improved. It looks like you got yourself a reveal, Haku," said Zabuza. "So it would seems," said Haku. However, he was wondering where was Naruto. "I have been looking forward to this fight," said Sasuke. "Then let's see how much you have improved then, Haku. You know what to do," said Zabuza. "Yes, Zabuza-san," said Haku before he started to spin around so fast, making it almost impossible to see him at all. However, just as he was close to Sasuke and was about to cut him with his kunai, Sasuke managed to block it with own. "You managed to block my attack. Not many people can do that because of my speed. Most impressive," said Haku. "You shouldn't expect anything less from an elite ninja like me," Sasuke said with a smile. "However, I had key advices over you," said Haku. "Yay, like what?" Sasuke asked, wanting to know what kind of key advices this guy has over him. "First, we are surrounded by water, and second, you only have one arm left to defend yourself from my next attack," said Haku. "So what, I will just counter it with ease," said Sasuke. "I highly doubt you can counter something like this with ease," said Haku as he started to do hand signs with only just one hand. "What, he can perform ninjutsu with just one hand?" Sasuke thought in shock. "He's excitedly skilled to be able to that," thought Naruto. "I never heard of a ninja that can perform ninjutsu with only one hand," said Kakashi. "Haku is a prodigy unlike any other, Kakashi," said Zabuza. "Water style. Secret jutsu. 1,000 flying water needles of death," said Haku as he gathered water from what used to be Zabuza's water clones and from the misty air and created many needles made out of water which surrounded him and Sasuke, and then Haku used his control over them to fire all them only at Sasuke. "Sasuke-kun," Sakura shouted in worry. "I just had to remember Kakashi's training, just I got to focus my chakra and summon it at once on my feet like with the trees," thought Sasuke as he used his chakra to enhance his jumping speed for a brief moment to avoid Haku's needles. "He vanished," said Haku, but he looked up in the air and saw Sasuke, who was just about to throw a couple shuriken at Haku. However, as he did, Haku managed to dodge each of them. However, Sasuke appeared behind him. "You're not as fast as you think you are. From this moment forward you be the trying to avoid my attacks," said Sasuke. As Sasuke's and Haku's weapons clash again, Sasuke had another kunai which he threw at Haku's head. However, Haku managed to duck it, but Sasuke then kicked Haku in the face and sent flying back towards Zabuza. "That's not possible, nobody's faster than Haku," Zabuza thought in shock. You thought you were fast than me, as if let's see what else I'm better than you are at, Sasuke said proudly. You made a big mistake, underestimate these genin. You brought out Sasuke determination to prove you wrong. He's one of the most skilled young fighter back at the Hidden Leaf and is this year Rookie of the Year. Sakura here is one of the most brightest in her class, and last but not least is Sai Shimura, who has been trained at an early age by his grandfather Danzo Shimura, the shinobi of darkness, said Kakashi. Ha ha Haku, if we keep going like this we will be the ones in trouble, so stop messing around and finish it already, said Zabuza. Right, said Haku as he started to release his chakra into the air. What is he planning, thought Sasuke. I am sorry it has come to this, said Haku as he started doing hand signs. The air is getting colder, said Sasuke. Ice style. Secret jutsu. Crystal ice mirror, said Haku. Suddenly ice started form behind Sasuke and then more started to form around him, making 12 ice mirrors hovering above the ground, then 8 more form hovering above the first 12, and finally 1 ice mirror formed facing downwards. What is that jutsu? How does it work? Kakashi said out loud. Haku then walked next one of the ice mirror and he walked inside of it, and then his reflection appeared in all the mirrors. What kind of technique is this? Thought Sasuke. I got to help him, Kakashi thought as ran towards where Sasuke was, but stopped by Zabuza. If you enter this fight you got to fight me first. Your boy there, he's got no change against that Judas, he's finished, said Zabuza. Now I will show you what speed is truly is, said Haku as he readly his senbons. I should act as well, Naruto thought to himself as he lifted up his right hand and a light upretted his hand, and when it cleared revealed Naruto was now holding one of his swords. The sword itself was a pitch-black sword with trims of gray. It has a black hilt connected to a handguard that drops down on the right sword, and attached to this elongated area of the handguard is part of the sword. It's Kirito sword, Elucidator, from Sword Art Online. As Naruto changed at Team 7, Sai got his Tanto blade in change and met with Naruto, with both of their blades clashed. With Naruto and Sai. As Naruto and Sai both each other with their blades, and people who were close could hear the sound of the metals clashing. Sai grated a scroll and a paintbrush from his back, then he brought it in front of him and then he quick drawn a tiger and said, Super Beast Scroll? Once his brush left the scroll the drawing came to live and leap of the page and grew life-size, then it attacked Naruto. Naruto saw the drawn tiger coming at him, so he did a couple of hand signs and said, Lave style. Lave bullets jutsu. He let out a couple of little water bullets which hit Sai's drawn tiger and caused it to dispel. Interesting jutsu you got there, said Naruto. Thank you, said Sai. If I'm able to capture him and bring him back to Konoha with his grandfather, would be pleased that we can some intel about this Legion organization, like where is its headquarters, thought Sai. As Sai was thinking Naruto this is his chance and did a single hand side, then said, Water style. Water torrent bullet. As he finished, the misty air below Sai formed into water and became a powerful vortex of water around Sai. Then Naruto swing his arm send Sai flying upwards in the air, and as he fell to the ground Naruto had vanished, then reappear and kick him in midair and send he flying again but towards the others. As Sai clashed to the ground on his right side, hitting his right arm and his right half of his ribcage, he thought, Damn it, how could I get distracted? And as he tried to get up he felt an incredible amount of pain. Arrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr Naruto asked in a bored tone as he looked straight at Sai. Sai went and grabbed his scroll and paintbrush again, then he drawn 4 lions and said, "Super Beast Scroll." As his brush left the page, the 4 lions leaped of the scroll and came to life, then all of them they went and attacked Naruto. However, thanks to Naruto's speed and skill with his katana, he took them out quickly and ran to take Sai out. At Gato's hideout, "So Zabuza and his underlying went to the bridge," said Gato's bodyguard. "Good, once Zabuza get rid of Tazuna, this village will truly be mine," said Gato. "But boss, there's still a chance that Zabuza could lose," said Gato's bodyguard. You do have a point. In that case, why don't you gather the others and we'll go to the bridge. If Zabuza and his underlying had managed to finish things off, then we'll get rid of them as well, and if they did lose, then we'll just get rid of them. No doubt they will be too tried to defend themselves from us," said Gato. As Gato and his bodyguards entered Gato's office, they saw one stranger sitting on Gato's chair and 2 others were at his side. The stranger that was sitting down was a boy who was the same age as Naruto was Log Senju, the artificial son of Tsunade Senju and Orochimaru. He had tousled white-blue hair, thin eyebrows, with golden eyes, and a pale complexion. He has tousled white-blue hair, thin eyebrows, with golden eyes, and a pale complexion. He was wearing a loose-fitting two-toned light and dark blue kimono jacket with billowing sleeves, tied by a thick khaki-gray Ono stylized belt, and a pair of navy pants. In addition to his outfit, he wears black long fingerless gloves and black calf-length shinobi sandals. He's wearing what Masuki wears. On his left side was a small girl who was Chino of the Chinoik clan. She had long light blonde hair that went down to her waist, two thick strands reach onto her rosy cheeks. She also has violet eyes with small brows. She's wearing what she wore in the anime. Whilst on the right side was a tall boy with long green hair and yellow eyes. He is seen wearing a dark hooded cloak and has a scar under his left eye. He was Noaki. "Who the fuck are you and how dare you sit on my chair?" Gato shouted angrily. "Your chair," Log said amused. "You two bring me that brat, head," Gato ordered. Gato's two bodyguards both changed straight at three strangers, not knowing who they really were dealing with. Cause as they got closer to Chino gave them a quick look and placed them under a genjutsu, causing them fall to the ground. "What he how?" Gato said, shock. "Now then let's talk," said Log. With Haku and Sasuke. Haku started to throw many senbons at Sasuke, cutting him all over his body as well as being impaled into him, causing Sasuke yell out in pain. Then Haku skillful throw a senbon at Sasuke's hand, causing him to throw his kunai away, which landed here by Sakura and Tazuna. "Sasuke," said Kakashi, worry for his student's life. "Sasuke-kun," Sakura shouted in worry for Sasuke's life. "Just try and help him and I will kill the other two in a heartbeat," said Zabuza. Just as Haku prepared to throw more senbons, Sasuke's secretary did a couple of hand signs, and just before Haku start his attack again, Sasuke unleash his jutsu. "Fire style. Fireball jutsu," said Sasuke as he unleashed his fireball at one of mirror, hoping to melt it. However, as the smoke cleared, it revealed it didn't do anything to the mirror at all. "You can't melt these mirrors with your flames," said Haku just before he start throwing his senbons at Sasuke. However, as Haku thrown his senbons at Sasuke, he then did something surprising. Sasuke somehow managed to do both dodge and block some of them with his kunai. How the hell did he manage to do that? Haku thought, but then he saw that Sasuke's eyes has changed from black into a blood red color with one tomos in each of them. "At long last I have finally awakened my clan's legendary bloodline, the Sharingan," Sasuke said proudly. "My first step towards surpassing him, and then I will achieve my revenge against him," thought Sasuke, thinking about Naruto and Itachi. "It still doesn't matter if you have unlocked your clan's bloodline, you wouldn't win this battle," said Haku before he began to throw his senbons. This time was slightly different because now Sasuke was able to see where they were coming from, and so he was able to both dodge and block some of them. However, even though Sasuke was able to see the senbons, his body wasn't fast enough to block or dodge all them. "Damn it, this shouldn't be happening. I finally have the Sharingan now, he shouldn't stand a chance against me," thought Sasuke. Having a bloodlines doesn't automatically make you stronger, they just give you advices over your opponent unless your opponent have the same bloodline as you, then it comes down to who has mastered it better than who, said Haku. "Aarrrrrr. Sasuke yell out in pain as Haku's senbons cutting him all over his body. "I'm sorry, but I can't stay with you, forgive," said Sakura. "I understand, go now," said Tazuna. Sakura grabbed Sasuke's kunai and ran towards his and Haku's battle. "Sakura," said Kakashi, worry for his other student. Sakura jumped into the air and threw Sasuke's kunai back to him. However, as kunai was close enough, Haku's attacks on Sasuke stopped because his upper body came out the mirror and caught the kunai. He caught it. Sakura said, panicking that he was going to kill Sasuke with his own because of her. "Nice try but tough luck," said Haku. Haku then threw one more senbon at Sasuke, knocking him out, but it seemed like he was dead. With Zabuza and Kakashi, hidden mist jutsu. Zabuza said that a mist covered a part of the bridge. As Kakashi and Zabuza were battling, Kakashi's kunai met Zabuza's executioner blade. As they clashed, the sound of them could be heard, just the Sai and Naruto battle, until both of them stopped and began doing the same hand signs at the same speed, and then they both said, "Water style. Water dragon jutsu." said Zabuza. Then water from the right side of the bridge rose made out of water risen high above him. Water style. Water dragon jutsu, said Kakashi. Then water from the left side of the bridge rose made out of water risen high above his as well. Then both dragons clash with each other, cancelling the other out, and the water from them fell to the ground like rain. During this, Kakashi had vanished using the Shunshin no Jutsu, but Zabuza knew Kakashi hadn't ran away from their battle. He was hidden waiting for the right to strike. Zabuza walked a little bit, then he stopped and tried to sense where Kakashi was hidden. However, Kakashi then reappeared behind Zabuza with his covered in lightning and tried to stab him through the chest, but Zabuza was able to avoid the Kakashi's attack. "Do you really think you can beat me in this mist? Don't make me laugh," said Zabuza before he changed and swing his blade, which completely went through Kakashi, but Kakashi turned into water, showed that it was a water clone, not the real Kakashi. "What?" said Zabuza. Then Kakashi appeared behind him. "I never thought anyone could get me from behind me," said Zabuza. "Face the fact, Zabuza, you can't win," said Kakashi. "Hehe, you got to be kidding me, you're the losers here," said Zabuza. "I'm sure you already know, those brats of yours have no chance of betting Haku and the other three," said Zabuza. "They don't have the guts to kill anyone," said Zabuza. "But those four are different," said Zabuza. "I had teacher Haku and those three battle skills since they became shinobis of the hidden mist," said Zabuza. "They are fighting machine and armed with deadly skills," said Zabuza. "A ninja doesn't need feelings, all he needs is power," said Zabuza. "That's something you and those brats lack," said Zabuza. "You," said Kakashi. "What's the matter? You got behind me, didn't you, so bring it," said Zabuza. "Hey, what's wrong? You scared now?" "Then," said Zabuza. He then turns around to face Kakashi, then he just turned into water, which surprised Kakashi. "Allow me," said Zabuza behind Kakashi. Zabuza swung his blade at Kakashi, but he was able to drop to the ground and kick Zabuza away. As Zabuza landed, he jumped back at Kakashi, his blade downwards. However, Kakashi blocked it by using his kunai. "Nice reflexes, that's what I like to see," said Zabuza. As Kakashi tried to push Zabuza back, Zabuza was able to knock Kakashi's kunai away from him, but before he could continue his attack, Kakashi kicked his and made him fall. Then Kakashi backflip away from Zabuza. "A ninja doesn't need feelings," Kakashi thought. "But Zabuza, a man like you should know," Kakashi thought. Zabuza changed at Kakashi with his executioner blade. "Really? Even a ninja can't live without feelings, as a machine," Kakashi thought. Kakashi got ready by grabbing two kunais from his back and hold them in both of his hands. "You are also human," Kakashi thought. As Kakashi used his two kunais to block Zabuza's attacks, but he knew that eventually his kunais are going to break and he needed to end this fight quickly, so as Kakashi blocked another of Zabuza's attack, he used it as an opportunity to cut Zabuza's right hand, and as he did, Kakashi then got away from Zabuza whilst Zabuza used it as an opportunity to disappear into the mist. Then Kakashi used the kunai that he didn't just use to cut Zabuza's hand, but instead he used the kunai to cut his own thumb, and after he put the kuani away and then brought out a scroll which he then opened and ripped his blood across it before resealing it, and he began doing a couple of hand signs, and once he finished he slammed the scroll on the ground. "Summoning Jutsu. Earth style. Tracking Fang Jutsu," said Kakashi as he did. Marking appeared on the ground around it. Suddenly the ground around Zabuza burst open, and from it came 8 hounds which were all different breeds, and they were wearing blue vests and had Konoha headbands around their necks, and all of them bit Zabuza's shoulder, arms and his legs. "He used my own blood to find in this mist," thought Zabuza. "This fight of ours is over, Zabuza," said Kakashi as he started to channel a large amount of chakra into his left hand, which became visible to everyone to see. Then Kakashi changed it, making it into lightning, which sounded like many chipping birds. "What is that?" thought Zabuza. "It's over, Zabuza, Chidori," said Kakashi before he charged at Zabuza's chest. However, just before Kakashi was about to finish Zabuza, the lightning from Kakashi's Chidori suddenly pulled away from Zabuza's chest, which saved Zabuza's life, and then someone came flying past him and clashed against the ground. Kakashi turned to look at who it was and he was shocked. "Sai!" Kakashi shouted, shock everyone else, because Sai was a strong member of the Foundation being trained by his grandfather at an early age, so seeing Beat was shocking. "So who's next?" said Naruto as he walks towards them. "What happened with Naruto and Sai?" As Naruto ran at Sai, he channels chakra though his foot and kick Sai's chest, but instead of send Sai flying he just burst into a puddle of ink. He can make clones out of ink, Naruto thought as he looks around for Sai. He's way stronger than I thought. I don't think I will be strong enough to bring him back to Konoha, Sai thought as was hidden behind some metal equipment. As Sai was trying to come up a plan to deal with Naruto, he didn't notice that Naruto had found him thanks to his sensor skill, and he got one of his jutsus ready and aiming at Sai. Sai then looked over to see what Naruto was doing and saw that he was looking straight at him. Crap, Sai thought as he was about to jump away. Energy style. Blast wave, Naruto said as he held out his arms and fire a large ball of energy at Sai, who just managed to avoid it in time as it would had kill him as it had destroy everything it had touched. He said thunder style. I never of that style before, Sai thought as he looked at the destruction it had caused. Perhaps it's a new bloodline, Sai thought. If he's able to do something like that, then he has just been toying with me the whole time, Sai thought. Naruto thought it was time to get serious, so he vanished using his true speed and reappeared in front of Sai, which surprised him, and then Naruto punched him in the chest which sent flying backwards, but Naruto disappear and reappear where Sai was heading and kick which sent flying again. Naruto did this again and again and again until he kicked Sai in the head towards the newcomer. Now with Naruto and Kakashi. Look kid, just stand down, I don't want to kill you, said Kakashi. Oh, you think you could take me down with so little effort, do you? Said Naruto. I will do whatever it takes to help this land, unlike you, said Kakashi. Do you want to why I came here, Leaf Ninja? Said Naruto. Then why are you here? Kakashi asked curiously. I'm here to help the land of waves as well, Naruto answered. Wait, seriously? Tazuna said, surprised. Yes indeed, but right, I have something that needs my full attention, said Naruto. Suddenly everyone heard clapping from one side of the bridge. As they turned around to see who it was, they saw Gato standing there with many of his trugs. Gato, what are you doing then? Said Zabuza. I came here to finish some loose ends like you, said Gato. What do you mean about that? Said Zabuza. I have decided that you and your partner are no longer any use to my plans anymore, so I am getting rid of you the fun away, said Gato. Gato then turned around to look at his men. Finish them all off and destroy once and for good, and you all will be pay Exeter, Gato announced, which then got cheers. Many of Gato's thugs who had crossbows all lined up and they aim at Kakashi and Zabuza, but as they fired them, instead of hitting their target, they ice wall which was formed just in time. Haku, since when can you create something that fast? Zabuza asked. It wasn't me, Zabuza-san, said Haku, surprising both Zabuza and Kakashi. Then who made it? Zabuza asked curiously. Him, Haku said whilst pointing at Naruto. If you don't mind, I'll handle this, Naruto said, walking towards Gato and his men. Haha, you think a child can beat all of us, said one of the thugs. I'm not going to beat all of you, said Naruto. Then what are you going to do then, kid? Said the same thugs from before. I'm going to kill every single one of you, said Naruto before he extends his right arm and fires a small, thin, very fast and concentrated a golden laser-like beams from his index finger, which barrels down and pierces through many of the Trug's chest. Why you little bastard? Another Trug shouted as he changed at Naruto with a spear, and he was aiming for Naruto's chest, but as he was about to reach him, Naruto simply threw a punch at the Trugs, which then produced a miniature fireball which burned the Trugs alive. Don't just stand there, kill him, Gato shouted. But he just killed most of us already, said one of the thugs. If you kill him, I will pay you all 10 times of what I promise, Gato shouted. Screw you and your money, I'm getting out of here, said another thug before ran towards one of sides of the bridge to escape, but as he ran away he was slit in half by one of Naruto's energy beams. I said I was going to kill all of you, and that is what I am going to do, Naruto said in a serious tone. Energy style. God Splite Cut, Naruto said as he creates a field of yellow energy around his right hand, creating a blade. Then he swiped his hand, unleashed to energy slashes, killing the remaining Trugs, and afterwards Naruto started to walk towards Gato. Please don't kill me, I'll pay you anything you want, I'll even leave this place for good, Gato begged on his knees. No, I'm not going to kill Gato, I'm giving that to the people you have wronged, said Naruto. Just then Log, Chino and Nawaki all arrived on the bridge. Chino's eyes glowed red, allowing Gato to remember his little meeting with having placed a genjutsu over Gato, making him forget. You there? I remember you lot. You force me to sign over everything I have to you, said Gato. That's right, nightly night Gato, Naruto said before he punched Gato straight in the face, knocking him out. So this is the power of Zarif Otsusuki, thought Kakashi. Holy shit, Zabuza said, didn't expect all that. If he had went serious against me I would die, no doubt about it, Sai thought. What kind of monster is he? Sakura said, terrified. That power, I should have it, not some mask nobody, thought Sasuke. I just hope he doesn't turn me and Zabuza-san, thought Haku. Kakashi, any ideas what just happened? Zabuza asked. No clue, Kakashi answered, but still curious. Naruto then turned around and faced the others. Now then Tazuna, I need to discuss something with you, privacy, said Naruto. Wait just there, do you honestly think that we will allow you to talk to Tazuna alone? I don't think so, said Kakashi. If I wanted Tazuna dead I would have done it already, and besides your opinion doesn't matter here, said Naruto before lifting his right arm. Universal pull, Naruto said, and suddenly an invisible force pulled Tazuna towards Naruto, and it was so fast no one could stop him. Tazuna, Kakashi shouted in worry for Tazuna's life. I said speak to Tazuna, privacy, Naruto said before he clicked his fingers, and then a seal appeared around him and Tazuna, then a pitch black dome appeared around them, preventing everyone else seeing them. What the hell is that, thought everyone else. Inside the dome. Now then we can have a discussion, said Naruto. What do you want from me? Tazuna said, scared. Nothing bad, I assure you, I just want to talk about forming allies between our lands, said Naruto. You want to forming allies with us, said Tazuna. Yes I do, I come from the land of the whirlpool, said Naruto. I thought that the land of the whirlpool was destroyed years ago, said Tazuna. It was before I went and restored it, said Naruto. You restored the land of whirlpool but you're so young, said Tazuna. You really shouldn't underestimated someone just because of your ego, so what do you say to my deal, said Naruto. If I agree to this will you help my village in return, said Tazuna. Yes of course I will, I would return all of the money that Gato stole from you. Rebuild or build new homes for your people as well as give them food and medical supplies. Protection from anyone else who wishes to take over your village like what Gato did, and before coming here I forced Gato to sign over his company to me, so I also give your people jobs where unlike Gato I will pay, said Naruto. That does sound better what Konoha has to offer, thought Tazuna. And what excelli do you want in return? Tazuna asked. As you know the land of waves has one of the best control over the seas in the trading industry, which is one of the reason why Gato took control over your land, so forming alliance with you will benefit Uzushiogakure greatly as well, said Naruto. You're right, if everything you saying is indeed true, alliance with your land would benefit both of us, but I can't make that decision myself, I would need to inform the rest of my village about this, said Tazuna. Very well, as you do that I'll inform my village about this and have them ready the food and medical if you chose to join, Naruto said before he clinking his fingers, and the pitch black dome around Naruto and Tazuna shattered. Tazuna, father, grandpa, everyone, Tazuna said, shocked by seeing his daughter, grandson and the rest of his village. Well, it seems that your village came to help out after all, how nice of them. Anyways, I'll be back in a couple days for your decision, however I would be grateful if you don't tell the Konoha team about this discussion of ours, Naruto said before disappeared. Hey, that masked guy is gone. Sakura shouted. Damn it, I hope to get a little more intel about the Legion organization from him, thought Kakashi. Zabuza-san, Haku said as he appeared next to Zabuza, and then he took Zabuza away. They're gone as well, said Kakashi. A couple days later. So Tazuna, have you come to a decision, said Naruto. Yes we have, and we agree to your terms, said Tazuna. Good, then let's first return what Gato stole from you. His Naruto then clicked his fingers and several black hooded people appeared holding ninja scroll. It's Naruto's puppets, just without the Uzushiogakure symbol, so Konoha won't find out just yet. Who are these people? Said Tazuna. They are my shinobis, said Naruto. Naruto's shinobi then unsealed the scrolls to reveal bags of money, food and medical supplies. It was helpful that Gato kept a book filled with intel about money he took from you, so we know exactly how much Gato owns you, said Naruto. Naruto's shinobi went ahead and gave the people of the land of the waves their money back, food, medical and building supplies. You just tell me where you want new buildings and I'll create them, said Naruto. Yes, thank you so much, but please excuse me, I need to fully pay the Konoha team for the mission, said Tazuna. Why in the hell are I wearing this? said one of the two hooded people behind, who were in fact Zabuza and Haku. We can't allow Konoha to know that you have joined up with me, and with those rings I gave you too they will hide your charkas, said Naruto. So now that you're in change of Gato's company, are you going to change the name, said Haku. Yes I am, and I was thinking about calling it the Alvarez Trading Company, said Naruto. At Konoha. After 1 hour all of the members of the Konoha team were presented in front of there was all the members of the Konoha council sitting down by a large wooden, U-shaped table, who were the clan heads of all the clans within Konoha: the Hyuga, Aburame, Inazuka, Sarutobi, Nara, Akamichi, Yamanaka, Shimura and Kurama, though there were empty seats Uzumaki, Senju and Uchiha. Next was the high-ranking shinobi commanders. Then there were civilian side of the council, which were all the most wealthiest merchants within Konoha, and finally the three elders, who were all students of the former second Hokage Tobirama Senju, and in the middle of all of them was the third Hokage. Hiyashi Hyuga. He has long brown hair and featureless white eyes like all members of his clan. He normally wears very traditional, loose-fitting robes with a long-sleeved, brown haori. Shibi Aburame, like all members of his clan, has his eyes obscured by dark glasses which feature a single tassel hanging down from one side. He has very spiky short black hair and a mustache. He typically wears a high-collared outfit, while carrying a gourd on his back. Sume has an animalistic look similar to that of her son Kiba. She has long, spiky, untamed brown hair, vertical slit-like pupils, elongated canine teeth and nails. She also has the clan fang markings on her cheeks, as well as markings over her eyes and a dark shade of purple lipstick. She wears the standard outfit of a Konoha shinobi, consisting of flak jacket and a black suit underneath with the sleeves rolled up and bandages around her legs. Shikaku Nara has 2 scars on the right side of his face, which were probably his most noticeable feature. Like his son, he had dark hair tied up into a spiky ponytail, dark eyes as well as a goatee. His ears were also pierced. He was wearing the standard Konoha shinobi outfit, and Shikaku's flak jacket is depicted as a deeper shade of green. Choza Akamichi is a tall, plump man with long, spiky red hair and purple markings on his cheeks, with the latter being a common trait in the Akamichi clan. He wears a samurai-like outfit which entails a black suit completed with armor that has the kanji for food, shoku, on it. He also wears a rope belt, handguards, and instead of a forehead protector, a hachimaki tied around his head. Inoichi Yamanaka has long ash blonde hair reaching into his back, which he wore spiky on top and ending in a long ponytail, blue-green eyes and strong facial features, which included a well-defined jawline. He wore the standard outfit of the Konoha interrogation unit, complete with a long black overcoat. Hair is pulled back in a twin bun locked by a traditional Japanese hairpin. The pearls on her hair needle have also increased and tassels were added to the other end. Her earrings are also considerably longer. As a member of the Konoha Council, Kaharu wears a simple long kimono, closed by an obi, a jacket, and a sash over it. Kaharu has also taken to squinting, barely opening her eyes at any point in time. Homura is depicted with gray hair, a beard, glasses as well as a constant frown that he's always worn, even in his youth. He also has a strong jawline, a facial structure he has retained even in his old age. As a member of the Konoha Council, he wears haori with a blue, full-length kimono that is tied using a white sash. Danzo appeared as a frail, old man, who would normally walk with a cane. He had black, shaggy hair, and his right eye was bandages. Danzo has had an X-shaped scar on his chin ever since his youth. He wore a white shirt, with a black or dark gray robe over the top of it covering from his feet to just over his right shoulder. The robe conceals his right arm, which was bandaged, and covered with 3 large golden braces. Now then, as everyone who was a part of your team is here, we will let you to tell us what exactly happened in the Land of Waves, said Hiruzen. Yes, Hokage-san, said Kakashi. I'm not going to write Kakashi's description of the battle, you know what from the previous chapters. As Kakashi finished his report about the battle during the Land of Waves, the entire council was shocked when Kakashi told them about Legion showing up, and they really wanted to know how Zeref possessed multiple bloodlines. I thought that if we managed to capture him we could convince him to join Konohagakure or get any intel on the Legion organization, said Kakashi. I agree it would have been useful get him to join Konoha as well as get some intel on this Legion organization, like where is their base of operations, said Danzo. If my route managed to capture him, Konoha will possess all those bloodlines, thought Danzo. I wonder why the Land of Waves didn't want to form an alliance with us with everything that they've been, though you would think they would be jump at the chance, said Choza. I agree it is strange, said Shibi. Kakashi, do you have any idea what this Zareth discussed with the Tazuna? Hiruzen asked. No, nothing. The dome that Zareth created prevented us from seeing or hearing their meeting, and afterwards Tazuna wouldn't tell us anything, said Kakashi. Kakashi, do you know what happened to Zabuza and that Yuki clan member, Hiaishi? I don't know. After the battle they disappeared, said Kakashi. I are going to need to keep a close eye on Legion. They could become possible allies or enemies in the future, thought Hiruzen. At Azukage Mansion, Naruto sat in his Azukage throne without his mask on, and stood in front of him was Shishi, who had short, unkempt, dark-colored hair, black eyes and a relatively broad nose and well-defined eyelashes that were turned upwards at each end. He wears a black high-collared shirt, a midriff exposing flak jacket, and light blue pants. Most of this goes unseen, as he wears a tattered light brown poncho over it. He wraps bandages around his ankles and a blue sash around his head during this appearance. Yes, he's wearing what Sasuke wore during Naruto, the last, because if I go that far again Sasuke won't be wearing that, so instead for it going to waste. So Shisui, what have you learned in Suna? Naruto asked curiosity. They are planning to turn on Konoha and work with Orochimaru the rogue Sannin to destroy, said Shisui. Really, that is indeed interesting, but only problem I see in that for us is if someone like Orochimaru to gain Konoha bloodlines and secrets, it would be bad for everyone, said Naruto. They are planning to do this during the chunin exams finals, which is going to be held in Konoha this year, said Shisui. I see. However, knowing Orochimaru, he will send someone or go himself to obtain any bloodlines, said Naruto. Indeed, he has made it clear to Suna that he wants Sasuke alive, most likely to possess his body and obtain his Sharingan, said Shishi. The Sharingan in the hands someone like Orochimaru is too dangerous to ignore, said Naruto. What are you planning to do, Excelli Naruto-san? Shishi asked curiosity. To prevent Orochimaru from gaining the Sharingan, I'll go to Konoha to take part of the chunin exams. It's a perfect chance to show the world that Uzushiogakure is back and better than ever, said Naruto. Won't the other villages attack us once they learn of us? Said Shisui. They may try, but they will fail thanks to the barrier jutsu I have over the land, said Naruto. Didn't the old Uzushiogakure had a barrier but failed during the attack, said Shisui. Yes, you are correct. Somehow Hoshigakure, Kusagakure, Takigakure and an unknown force found a way to undo the barrier jutsu. I don't know, they did it by themselves maybe, or perhaps someone gave the blueprints of it to them, but it won't happen to us, said Naruto. Why's that, Naruto-san? Shishi asked curiosity. Because I have improved it greatly and there isn't any blueprints for it, said Naruto. I see. And who Excelli will be bringing with you? Shisui asked curiosity. Yoda, I'm sure he'll want to see Konoha and the friends that he made there again, and log if the chance for he maybe to see Tsunade, said Naruto. I see, but you will need someone to be call your sensei, said Shisui. Already thought of it. Konoha will no doubt be keeping an eye on me, so I will bringing Sebastian with us, which will make Konoha think that the reason why I am so strong is because I have been trained by him, said Naruto. I see, it does make sense. And will you be revealing who you truly are to them as well? Said Shisui. No, I won't, said Naruto. Not if I help it, thought Naruto. The council chambers. The council room was busy with activity as the heads of the All Leaf's major clans along with members of several civilians' council, as well as the Anbu commander, were present there. They all had gathered there for the special emergency council meeting. Although, the strange thing was that none of them knew what the emergency was. After a little while, once everyone settled into their seats in the council room, the third Hokage entered the room. Thank you all for coming so quickly, said Hiruzen, once all the Jonin senseis had gathered. Now, as some of you may or may not know, the chunin exam are about to take place shortly. Upon hearing this, there was a large amount of muttering in the hall, as many of them surprised that it was time for the chunin exam already. Fortunately though, after a minute or two, things settled down again, where the Hokage then continued to speak. So I would like to hear any recommendations from those of you who believe that their team is ready to compete in the exam, said Hiruzen. I. Kakashi Hitaki, Jonin Sensei of Team 7 nominate Sai Shimura and Sasuke Uchiha and Sakura Haruno for the exams, said Kakashi. I. Kurenai Yuhi, Jonin Sensei of Team 8 nominate Kiba Inuzuka, Hinata Hyuga and Shino Aburame for the exams, said Kurenai said. I. Maeda Guy, Jonin Sensei of Team 9 nominate Neji Hyuga, Rock Lee and Tenten Higurashi for the exams, said Guy in a serious tone that surprised everyone that expected him to start shouting. I. Asuma Sarutobi, Jonin Sensei of Team 10 nominate Shikamaru Nara, Ino Yamanaka and Choji Akamichi for the exams. Asuma finished and everyone started whispering about all the rookies being nominated. As everyone was talking amongst themselves, Iruka, who was currently sitting next to the Hokage, decided to voice his concerns about the rookie Genin's teams entering the chunin exam. Excuse me Hokage-sama, but are you sure that it's wise to have 3 rookie Genin teams, who only just graduated from the academy less than 6 months ago, said Iruka. If you really feel that they aren't ready, why don't you test them for yourself? Kakashi said, his eye not wavering in the slightest. If Iruka had gained their attention before, Kakashi had just put them all on the edge. There was no protest for the chunin exams before, just the Junin sensei's approval and a minimum required mission count of 8. They had heard people object to the Junin's decisions before, but they had never seen a Junin push back. Hushed whispers carried through the room, most being bets of who would likely win the debate. Iruka paled slightly, but was intrigued by Kakashi's challenge. What exactly do you mean by that? Kakashi grimaced, but he explained what he was thinking without hesitation. It's actually pretty straightforward. You think up a test of a shinobi skill that you remember them either excelling or failing at that. If they pass, then you will allow them to continue on to the chunin exams. If they fail your test, then they won't be allowed to enter. The murmuring increased, most of them now thoroughly confused. Iruka, however, understood what Kakashi was getting at. I see, so you want me to prove that they are ready to take the exams. He scowled as he looked at Kakashi. What if I give them a test that I know that they'll fail at? No you won't Iruka, if they think their genins are ready then they are ready, so deal with it, said Hiruzen. Yes Hokage-san, said Iruka. Just then a chunin appeared in the room holding a scroll. Hokage-san, we have a late entirely for the chunin exams, said the chunin. Okay, so treat it like the rest and add them to the list, said Hiruzen. But it's who it is from you should see, said the chunin. Alright, bring it here, said Hiruzen. As the chunin handed Hiruzen the scroll and after he read it his eyes open up in shock. Lord Third, what's wrong? What does it say? Kakashi asked curiosity. I don't believe it, but it says that it's from the Legion organization and they will be sending a team to enter the chunin exams, Hiruzen said in shock. What? They all shouted in shock. 1 month later at Konoha's East Gate. The best friends Izumo and Katetsu were doing the worst job any Leaf Shinobi could do, and that was village gate guard duty. This SSS suukas. Katetsu moaned while sitting beside his best friend Izumo, whose eye was twitching in annoyance. They both got sick of watching nothing, so they both decided to play a game of cards. Oh, will you give it a rest? Yelled Izumo. He might not like guard duty as much as his friend, but at least he wasn't going to bitch about it. But Izumo, nobody comes here unless they are for the chunin exams, and that's starting tomorrow. Nobody is gonna come here so late. Sighing at his friend's childishness, he looked at the cards he had in his hand and placed them on the table. Well, you best keep your wits up because you never know if there's gonna be an enemy attack, told Izumo. Yeah, whatever, muttered Katetsu while placing down one of his cards. Izumo noticed how his friend's eyes suddenly darted towards the dirt road and followed his gaze, and he saw 4 shadowed figures walking down the road towards them. Looks like there are some applicants after all, smirked Izumo seeing his friend grunt, but both kept their guards up just in case that they were enemies. With Naruto under his Zareth Otsusuki identify was walking towards Konoha by himself. However, he wasn't happy about it as he had to see Konohagakure again after 5 years since he last saw it before he ran away 5 years ago. Yoda has green eyes and spiky brown hair tied in a ponytail. He was wearing a sleeveless brown coat and black long-sleeved shirt underneath it and carried a medium-length Chikuto blade on his back. He wore a pairing of black gloves on his hands and wore his forehead protector around his waist, along with a long sash, and he had his Uzushiogakure forehead around his neck and with blue cloth. He also wore a simple blue shinobi pants and a pair of black shinobi sandals. He's wearing what Masuki wears. It's been a while since I last been to Konoha. It hasn't changed much, said Sebastian. Yeah, it's still the same, said Yoda. And I bet the people are still the same, said Naruto. As Naruto and his team continued to walk until they were standing in front of the booth which Izumo and Kotetsu were standing in. May I help you? Asked Izumo looking at the team in front of him. Yes, you can. I am here for the chunin exams. We're from the Legion organization, said Sebastian. Both Izumo and Kotetsu eyes widened at that information as they had been given a report from the third Hokage which they have read a couple of days ago about a team from the new Legion organization will be entering the exams this year. Oh yes. Welcome to the Hidden Leaf Village. We're glad that you were able to come. If you wouldn't mind, I would like you to tell me your names so I can write them down in our registration log, said Kotetsu holding a pen and clipboard up. My name is Sebastian, said Sebastian, which shocked them. That's the Sebastian, thought Izumo. He's the god of death, thought Kotetsu. My name is Log Senmaki, said Log. He has the eyes of a predator, thought Izumo, who was hoping that he was just imagining things. My name is Naruto Otsusuki, said Naruto. This is the person that the Hokage told us to keep an eye out for, thought Kotetsu. Well then, welcome to Konohagakure, said Izumo. As Naruto and his team walked through gates and into the village, they saw several shinobi from other countries walking around and doing their own thing. Naruto also noted how some people would looking at his team strangely. They treat anyone who isn't allies with Konoha like this. It's no wonder Konoha has so many enemies, thought Naruto. Naruto also knew that he has been watched by a couple of Konoha Anbu Black Ops members, as Naruto is able to sense them hiding in the shadows of the alleyways and rooftops. Those gatekeepers must have informed the Hokage about our arrival, thought Naruto. Okay, I'll book us in the hotel where all the shinobi from other villages will be staying as well. You may do as you please until then, Sebas said before he walked towards the hotel. I'll go to the bookstore and see anything interesting there, said Log. I'll getting something to eat, said Yoda. I'll just go for a wander around then, thought Naruto. As Naruto made his way, he walked through an alley and was looking around the area while remembering his life in the village. The glares, the neglect, the beatings, he remembers it all, and it all started with the village. If it wasn't because Kuruma attacked the village or the masked man who claimed to be Madara Uchiha, and it wasn't even because of his father who had sealed Kuruma in his gut. It was the damned village. Their stupidity and fear has made Naruto's first 7 years in this world a living hell. It was his first meeting with Kuruma that saved his life from damnation by the village, and now he's gonna show the village what they missed out on. I regret nothing, thought Naruto, smiling warmly. His smile left his face quickly when a Anbu wearing a bird mask appeared in front of him. Naruto Otsusuki, you have been called for a meeting with the Hokage, said the Anbu. No, I'm not going to have a meeting with that old cage of yours, so make sure you tell him that and leave me alone, says Naruto walking past the Anbu. The Anbu quickly turned around to grab Naruto by his right shoulder and grips it tightly to try to show his superiority over Naruto. I'm sorry, but it wasn't a request, said the Anbu. And I'm no longer someone who will be controlled by the likes of you lot anymore, Naruto said whilst whispered the last part. Naruto remembers this certain Anbu who had once joined a mob beating instead of stopping it, and now that Naruto is back, he has a lot of debts that need to be paid and he's gonna collect one way or another. The Anbu then saw Naruto wave his right hand around, and next minute he gasped in shock and fear when he suddenly couldn't breathe, which caused him to go at Naruto. You think just cause I'm young you have control over me, said Naruto. The Anbu Black Ops member tried his best to be able to breathe again, but nothing he did work, and then he notices Naruto's left hand was in hand seal. I'm not a shinobi of this village or even a civilian, so you have no right to order me around, said Naruto. The Anbu Black Ops member then saw his air coming out from his mouth and form a dome around his head, choking him. You're Lucy that I don't want to deal with Konoha for killing you, said Naruto. Naruto bended the air out of the Anbu Black Ops member just like what Zager did to the Earth Queen, but Naruto allowed the Anbu Black Ops member live. As the air dome around the Anbu Black Ops member vanished, he collapsed and Naruto disappeared, leaving the unconscious Anbu Black Ops member. Naruto was sitting on top of a building looking at his former. He had to admit Konoha is beautiful. Sure, he hates the people of Konoha, but that doesn't change the fact, and as he looked over he heard something that caught his attention. Damn it! Brat, that hurt, the shinobi said and picked up the small child by his collar, getting ready to apply some punishment. From what Naruto could see, the two strange shinobis with sand Hishiot. The one holding the kid wore a black, baggy, full bodysuit with a red and yellow circle on the front. He also wears a black hood which covered his head completely and had cat-like ears and his forehead protector on his forehead. He also a bundle in his back with white bandages surrounding it completely. The other shinobi's outfit consists of a single light purple-colored, off-the-shoulders garment that extended to halfway down her thighs, with a scarlet sash tied around her waist. In addition to incorporating fishnet worn over her shoulders and legs, specifically on her right calf and her left thigh, she also wore her black forehead protector around her neck. The boy who was being held up by the Suna shinobi had short spiky brown hair and black eyes. He wore gray shorts and a yellow shirt with a red Konoha symbol printed on it and long blue scarf around his neck. His name was Konohamaru Sarutobi and he was the grandson of Hiruzen Sarutobi. He had short brown hair and dark eyes. He had big circular glasses and wore a simple blue shirt which zipped up the middle, a pair of brown pants and sandals. His name was Udon. She has orange hair tied up, with red elastics, into two very large pigtails. She wears a red tank top over a pink t-shirt layered at the bottom. Her pants are gray and she wears the traditional ninja sandals. Her name was Moegi. I've got to teach him some respect, Tamari, Kankuro, replied the female shinobi. Fine, but if you get in trouble I'm not helping, Tamari replied, and Kankuro nodded, getting ready to smash his fist into Konohamaru. Sakura just watched, scared of them. Suddenly a small pebble flew through the air out of the corner of his eye and hit Kankuro's wrist. After being hit, Kankuro almost immediately dropped Konohamaru, as he held his wrist in pain from being hit so suddenly and hard. When everyone looked to where the pebble came from, they saw Sasuke sitting up on the thick branch of a nearby tree. "You're a long way from home and way out of your league," said Sasuke as he stared at Kankuro, who looked pissed at Sasuke stopping him. "SSSAASSS is Suke-kun," cried Sakura with joy at seeing her crush arriving to the rescue. "HHHMMM, he's not bad looking," Tamari thought while looking at Sasuke. "Tisk, this punk is piss me off," muttered Kankuro as he held his wrist and glared at the young Uchiha. "I suggest that you get lost," spoke Sasuke with a cold stare, where he then crushed the small pebble that he was holding in his hand. "SSS Su CCCCOOOOLLLLL," tried both Sakura and Moegi, with heart-shaped eyes. "Oh yeah, you little shit," Kankuro said as he took off the large bandaged object that he was carrying on his back and slammed it onto the ground. "What? You're going to use the crow for something like this?" cried a worried Tamari, when she saw what her younger brother was going to do. However, before Kanuro did anything, he suddenly felt that he got stabbed in stomach, stopping him completely. When he turned away he saw Naruto, but he didn't have a weapon, instead his right hand index finger pointing out. Now there's no need to fight that for the chunin seems," said Naruto when he appeared behind Kanuro. He channeled his killed instinct though his index finger, which made Kanuro stop his attack. "What the hell, I'm sure I felt like I got stabbed but there isn't any wound on me. Don't tell me this masked guy just poked me and caused all that," thought Kanuro. "Now then, why don't you and your sister know what is best for you and leave," said Naruto. At hearing this, Kankuro gritted his teeth in anger and growled at little, "Damn you punk, if I could, I would." "Besides, your teammate doesn't seem very happy," Naruto said, looking up towards a nearby tree. Suddenly from behind the tree that Sasuke still on appeared another sand shinobi higher up. He is a little shorter than the average males of his age. He has fair skin and short, spiky, auburn hair which was sometimes depicted as red. He has green eyes and no distinctive pupils or eyebrows either. He has two very notable traits in his appearance. Firstly, he has tanuki-like black eye rings. He had the kanji for love on the left side of his forehead. Sasuke was especially surprised and shocked that he couldn't sense the boy as he had his shinobi senses on high alert. How did he get there? He never made a sound, without any of us besides this guy hearing him. Only Jonin at Kakashi's level or that smooth, thought Sasuke with a calculating looking. "Naruto, you can feel it, right?" said the Kyuubi. "Yeah, there's no mistaking it," Naruto said within his mind to the Kyuubi. Naruto chuckled. "I never thought that I'd find another Jinchuriki in all places." He looked at Gaara. "Perhaps this exam won't be such a waste of time after all." "Jinchuriki? Others from Konoha thought, not knowing what it meant. Who are you? Gaara's eyes narrowed. How does he know that? He dismissed others as his eyes focused on the pale red-head boy. The name's Sasuke of the famous Uchiha clan, Sasuke said proudly. Not you, him, Gaara said pointing at Naruto. Zarif Otsusuki, Naruto made a mocking bow. Nice to meet you too. One Tails, he whispered the last one, so only Gaara could hear it. Much to his siblings' surprise, Gaara's usually blank eyes were widened in shock as he watched Naruto chuckled before he disappeared without any trace. That's so cool, all children thought. Who the hell was he? Kankuro cried out in disbelief. I should keep an eye out for him, thought Gaara. However, deep inside of Gaara the Shukaku was slimed out of shock as the moment Gaara saw Naruto's Shukaku could sense something that he never thought he would sense again, and that was his father's chakra. It can't be him, it's not possible, thought Shukaku. Day of the Chunin exams. Naruto and his team were standing outside the Konoha Academy, and as they entered the building and headed towards the room where the exam was going to be held. As they walked up the flight of stairs to the floor where the exam was going to be held, they saw a large crowd gathered outside the room on the second floor, where the exam was said to be held. As they got closer they saw a boy in a green outfit being pushed back by two tall-looking genin, who were blocking the way into the room. You're actually trying to take the Chunin exam at your level? Mocked one of the genin. You kids should quiet while you still can, as you won't last in the exam, said the other genin. Please just let us through, spoke Tenten as she helped Lee back up and then tried to walk though, only to be pushed back by one of the two boys. Hey there, no need to do that, spoke another genin in the waiting crowd. Huh, we're doing you all a favor by keeping from doing the exam, as it is extremely difficult and we've seen people get seriously injured in it, since they weren't ready for it, spoke one of the two boys who had two bandages on his cheeks. He's right, as a Chunin is a leader of the squad and it's his job to make sure that his subordinates come back alive from a mission. So what's wrong with weeding out the weaklings, as they aren't going to pass anyway if they can't get by us, said the other boy. That's a pretty sound argument, but I'll pass, spoke Sasuke as he stepped forward. Also undo this field that you created by using genjutsu, as I want to go to the third floor where the exam is being held. That idiot, the genjutsu was supposed to get rid of weak people who are fools to fall for it, Naruto thought. At hearing this many people in the crowd grew confused, not understanding what Sasuke was talking about. Oh, so you notice? Spoke the boy with the bandages on his face. Yeah, you guys also noticed earlier, said Sasuke where he looked back at Sai and Sakura, as both of you have the best analyzing skills and genjutsu know-how on our squad. Hell yeah, Sasuke-kun praised my skills. Sakura thought happily. You're pretty good, but just being able to detect isn't enough, spoke the boy with the bandages on his face. He quickly flipped forward to kick Sasuke, who saw it coming and prepared to block the kick with a kick of his own. But just as the two were about to hit each other, Lee suddenly appeared between them and caught both their legs. He's fast, Naruto thought as he looked at green clothing genin. He's a completely different person that he was a moment ago. He must have been only letting those guys push him around so to keep his real skill level from everyone else so they would underestimate him. Clever, thought Naruto. He stopped me with just a kick, thought Sasuke with some surprise and annoyance at how easily this stranger had caught his kick. Soon after, Lee let go of both Sasuke and the other boy, where when he did, his teammates walked up to him. Lee, you broke our promise, Lee, said the newcomer who had fair skin, long brown hair and featureless white eyes. He wore a beige-colored shirt, a dull blue shirt beneath that, and mesh armor beneath that. He wore dark brown shorts, blue shinobi sandals, and wrapped bandages around his right arm, chest, and right leg. He tied his hair back in a loose ponytail tied a few inches above the end. He wore a black forehead protector, under which was a smaller headband with two straps that framed the sides of his face. His name was Neji of the Hyuga clan. When Neji and Tenten came up to Lee, "You're the one who didn't want to gain people's attention by doing something to stand out," said the newcomer. "I'm sorry," spoke Lee, where the then turned to look at Sakura and blush a little. Upon seeing this, brown-haired guy just scoffed as he figured Lee had done what he did to impress Sakura. After being scolded by his teammate, Lee then walked up to Sakura. "My name is Rock Lee, let's go out together. I'll protect you till the day I die," spoke Lee, where he then did his nice guy pose. Sakura stared at him for a moment before she spoke. "No way. You're lame. She deadpanned that caused Lee's slumped in depression. Sakura was quick to speak. The boy was lame, his jumpsuit, hair and everything about just seemed wrong. No, she said. I belong to Sasuke-kun, she thought to herself. Hey, you, the brown hair boy said facing Sasuke. What's your name? Sasuke looked at the boy and scoffed. If you want to learn someone's name, you should give your own first. Neji just frowned. You're a rookie, right? He asked. Not leaving any time to answer his question, he continued. How old are you? Sasuke scoffed again. I don't have to answer you, he said. Sasuke and the Hyuga turned from each other and began to walk away. As Naruto finished watching the scene unfold, he then turned around and continued to make his way to exam hall with his teammates. When Naruto's team entered the exam room, almost every single Genin's turned toward them and began glaring at them. Many of the Genin's teams, who were older than they were by several years, began leaking killing intent at the trio try intimate them, but it didn't work as Yato and Log were actually trained by Sebastian whilst Naruto didn't need it, so he unleashed a bit of his own killing instinct which scare most of them. Naruto's team made their way towards a wall and waited there until the exams began. Suddenly a loud squeal erupted toward the Chunin exam hall door. Sasuke-kun, I missed you so much. A girl said as she jumped on top of Sasuke, wrapping her arms around his neck and her legs around his waist. Did you miss me too? The girl has fair skin, blue eyes and long platinum blonde hair worn in a ponytail, with bangs framing the right side of her face. Her hair is seen in different lengths. Her ponytail extends to her waist but it is later cut and grows to shoulder length. She wore purple outfit consisting of a high-collared blouse and matching apron skirt. She also wore an attire with bandages on her abdomen and legs, small hoop earrings, her forehead protector worn as a belt, and for a time, white arm warmers. Several tick marks appeared on Sakura's forehead. Get the hell off him, Ino pig, she shouted. Troublesome women. A guy muttered as he and another guy made their way towards the group. He has narrow brown eyes and a typical expression suggesting he is either bored or irritated. He has shoulder-length black hair tied in a spiky ponytail. He wears a short-sleeved gray jacket with green-edged sleeves and the rudimentary Nara clan symbol on the back, under which is a green-lined mesh t-shirt. He also wears brown pants, a pair of his clan's traditional silver hoop earrings, and wears his blue forehead protector around his left arm. His name is Shikamaru of the Nara clan. The other guy has a rotund build and markings on his cheeks in the form of swirls. He has spiky, brown hair that sticks upward. He wears a green, short-sleeved haori with a long, white scarf over a light green shirt, with the kanji for food on it. He also wore black shorts, hoop earrings, and bandages around his legs and forearms. His blue forehead protector was styled in a manner that allowed 2 tufts of hair to poke out at each side. His name was Choji of the Akamichi clan. Don't tell me that you guys are also going to take this troublesome exam, too? Asked an annoyed Shikamaru, as he and Choji walked up to their teammate and former classmates. Huh, so you guys are all doing the exam as well, spoke a new voice, where when everyone looked they saw 2 guys and 1 girl walking towards them. The boy in the middle has messy brown hair, sharp black eyes with vertical slit-like pupils, pronounced canine teeth, and nails that he can change into claws. He also has the distinctive red fang markings on his cheeks. He wore a dark grayish pants reaching to his calves and a gray, hooded fur-lined coat, with the hood usually placed on his head, over an apparent plate of armor and fishnet undershirt and a blue forehead protector and blue sandals. His name was Kiba of the Inuzuka clan. On top of Kiba's head was a dog which was a small puppy with white fur. His eyes are squinted, appearing closed, and he has a brown nose, as well as brown patches on his ears and a brown outline around his mouth. His fur on top of his head is styled to somewhat resemble a mohawk. His name was Akamaru. The other boy had dark sunglasses and a sea green jacket with a high, upturned collar. He had a fair-skinned, dark, bushy brown hair and dark narrow eyes. His name was Shino of the Aburame clan. The girl of the group had white eyes and dark blue hair that she keeps in a short, kept just above her forehead with chin-length strands framing her face. She wears a cream-colored hooded jacket with a fire symbol on the upper sleeves and fur around the cuffs and hem. Along with this she wears navy blue pants and keeps her forehead protector around her neck. Her name was Hinata of the Hyuga clan. Are you doing the exam as well? Asked Shikamaru in his usual bored tone. The rookie 9 of the Hidden Leaf. Kiba said excitedly, explaining himself quickly at seeing the confused looks. The first times in years since rookies have attended the chunin exams and we are the ones to do it. Hoo boy, this is going one hell of a showdown. Hinata put a hand on his shoulder to calm him down. You sure seem confident, Kiba. Sasuke said he had finally divested Ino from his back. Kiba scoffed, we did a lot of training. We won't lose to the likes of you, he said with bursting confidence. As Naruto watched the Konoha genin among themselves, he couldn't help but think that if he had stayed in Konoha he would have known them. Just then Naruto saw a sliver-haired older genin walk towards the large group of genin. The guy had small black eyes with round circular glasses on his nose. He wore a dark purple shirt with a white undershirt and a white obi around his waist worn at a slight angle. He also wore dark purple pants with a shuriken holster on his left hip. All of you be quiet. The silver-haired genin stepped closer to the group, drawing everyone else's attention. You guys are rookies just from the academy, right? He asked, as if he hadn't heard Kiba's loud declaration, screaming like schoolgirls, this isn't a picnic. Who do you think you are? Kiba asks, annoyed at the guy's obvious remarks. My name is Kabuto Yakushi and you lot are being so noisy, take a look around you, he said. Kiba looked around him and gulped when he noticed that almost everyone inside was glaring at them. Have you already tried the exam? Sakura asked. Actually, this is my 7th try, Kabuto explained sheepishly, rubbing the back of his head. Man, you must be weak, Kiba said. These exams aren't easy, maybe I can share some information with you. Kabuto started and took deck O cards from his pockets. These are my chakra cards, they react to my chakra signature and reveal the information that I have gathered. As you can see, there are teams from all the countries. I can give you some information on anyone here, Kabuto concluded, and Naruto got suspicious, as how could Kabuto have gained information on shinobi from other villages? Is there anyone we should know about? Sasuke asked, wanting to gain any intel about other shinobi teams. There's a couple actually, like there is a team that isn't from a ninja village, instead they come from that new Legion organization and they are standing right over. Kabuto said, pointing at Naruto's team. It's him again, good, I can test my power out on him and if he uses any jutsu then I'll copy it with my Sharingan, thought Sasuke. Their sensei is the legendary assassin Sebastian, said Kabuto. I had heard about him from grandfather, he said that he's as strong as the 3rd Hokage and he could have become the 3rd god of shinobi instead if he hadn't turned down the offer, thought Sai. There is Log Senmaki, Yoda of the Kurasuki clan and Zarif Otsutsuki, said Kabuto. Next up is a team from Iwagakure who are the same age as you and they are over there, Kabuto said, pointing at another team. The first one he noticed was the biggest of them, who was easily the size of a middle-aged teen and was quite chubby and could be considered a member of the Akamichi clan. He wore standard red Iwa clothing and as for his feature, he had a very large round nose that stuck out like a sore thumb. The other was the second male member, had violet-colored eyes and black hair. He wore similar outfit to his teammate, but his Verizon was dark brown and was sleeveless. The last member and only female had dark hair that stopped a little below her chin and dark eyes. She wore something similar to her teammates, but her left leg instead of a red pants leg was instead a mesh coat. Their sensei is a well-known shinobi, Kitsuchi Kamizaru, also known as Kitsuchi the Earth Titan, because of his incredible skill over Earth-style jutsus, and he's the son of the current Tsuchikage Onoki Kamizaru, also known as Onoki the Fence Sit, said Kabuto. Yeah, I'm giving Kitsuchi a nickname. Kuritsuchi of the Kamizaru clan, the daughter of Kitsuchi, making her the granddaughter of the current Tsuchikage Onoki Kamizaru. Next is Akatsuki Doji, and finally Hojo of the Senryo clan and the grandson of the previous Tsuchikage Mu, also known as the Nullman, said Kabuto. There's a team from Kumo, they're a year older than you lot and is a all-boy team, their sensei name is Motoi, said Kabuto. The first member was a boy who a HD dark-skinned man with a slightly bulbous nose, black eyes that looked bored, and shaggy, white hair which covers his left eye. He wore a blue vest that was covered by a black sleeveless jumper that reveals a black lightning seal which was on his left shoulder. He had a dark blue forehead protector around his right arm, black fingerless gloves, gray pants, black boots. He carries a broad, foldable, cleaver-like sword, strapped to his back. He had a black forehead protector around his head. He wore a blue shirt that had long sleeves which he had rolled up above his wrists but still under his elbows, light gray trousers and dark blue shoes. He also had a small holder strapped to his waist. He wore a white scarf around his neck, a gray t-shirt that had a versus neck, a dark navy blue jacket, golden bracelets around his wrists. He had his forehead protector as a belt buckle. He had black pants and black boots. He was also carrying a long sword on his back. The team members are Darui, the son of the current 4th Raikage I and the grandson of the previous 3rd Raikage E, C and Atsui, said Kabuto. And that's just a few, so is there anyone else you want to know about someone? Perhaps I have info about them, Kabuto offered. Sasuke was silent for a moment before he looked up. The red-haired ninja from Sand. Do you know his name? Kabuto asked. I think it was Gaara, said Sasuke. Kabuto nodded and shuffled his nin cards. Found it. Sabaku no Gaara, also known as Gaara of the Sand. He has done many C-rank missions and even several B and A rank ones. His sensei is Baki the Windcutter and his teammates are his older siblings Tamari and Konkuro, he told them. Rumors said that he didn't even have a scratch on him after doing his missions. That's one hell of interesting guy if you ask me. Better stay away from him. Any others? Neji Hyuga, Rock Lee from the Leaf, and Sasuke looked at the pale red head from the corner of his eye. Zarif Otsusuki from before. Neji Hyuga and Rock Lee are teammates under Maida Guy with another genin named Tenten. Lots of D-rank missions, some C-rank missions. Both of them excel in taijutsu. Hyuga Neji comes from the Hyuga clan, branch member. Rock Lee is apprentice under his own Junin instructor, Maida Guy, the taijutsu specialist. He has excellent taijutsu for a ninja his age, but according to rumors he is unable to use chakra in the form of ninjutsu or genjutsu. He took next card. And the last one is Zarif Otsusuki. I already told you who his teammates and sensei are. As for his skills, it said that he's incredibly strong for someone his age and he's already made a name for himself and he's in the bingo book, said Kabuto. He then took out an orange book and found a page and he began to read from. Bingo book entry number 399. Name: Zarif Otsusuki, the Elemental Sage. Gender: male. Eye color: purple. Hair color: pale red. Age: around 13 years old. Ninja rank: known. Village: none. Alliance: to the Legion organization. Threat level: high S rank. Warnings: do not engage unless your rank is the same or higher. Known elemental affinities: all 5. Weapons: he have been seen using all types of ninja weapons. Special abilities: high chakra capacity, enhanced strength, enhanced speed, knows many unique ninjutsu and very skilled in taijutsu. Bloodline: he has been seen being able to use multiple bloodlines. Late style, boil style, ice style, and an unknown one, or it could be unique style of jutsu. Other information: he has taken out many high-ranking shinobi C to S rank. Upon Kabuto saying this, the entire room was so quiet that a person could hear a pin drop, where all eyes were on Naruto. How'll have deal with some fools who doesn't believe what that guy said and want to make a name for themselves, Naruto thought, annoyed. With one of the 2 teams from Uzushiogakure. She had dark-skinned kunoichi with long spiky red hair and amber eyes, wore a long short-sleeved dress as her ninja attire, complete with purple stockings, boots with white soles, and wore her forehead protector like a bandana. She also carried a long sword on her back. The guy had dark skin with short, spiky, white hair and dark eyes accentuated with lines curving upwards from the corners. He wore a dark outfit consisting of an overlong shirt with a hood, with red bandage handguards and shin guards, and carried a long sword on his back. The last girl was a fair-skinned woman of tall stature and was wearing a stoic, aloof expression on her face. She has blue eyes and straight, blonde hair framing her face, cut in an asymmetrical bob style with the front bangs reaching her shoulders. She wore a very low-cut outfit with mesh underneath, a short skirt and red handguards, high boots and a short of girdle that helped highlight her cleavage. She also had her tanto strapped horizontally to her lower back. Her name was Samui. Did you hear that the mask guy has multiple bloodlines, said Karui. Interesting, we must keep watch over him, said Samui. Damn it, what if during the exam I have to face against him and we know that he's extremely strong, him being S-ranked, said Omoi. Stop overthinking about Omoi, said Karui. But Omoi does have a point, he will no doubt be very strong, said Samui. The Raikage may want to know about him being in Konoha, said Karui. We'll tell Motoi about it the moment when we see him, said Samui. It's a shame Lord B couldn't come and see us in the chunin exams, said Omoi. Omoi, you know why Lord B couldn't come with us, said Samui. Hey Samui, what do you think will happen if we face against him, said Karui. If what that silver hair guy said is true, not well, said Samui. With the other team from Kumo. I didn't think we might be facing against someone who is already in the bingo book, said C. Dame, I hoped this thing would be dull, Darui said in a lazy tone. There's no doubt about that, if we face against him the heat of our bottles will be hot, said Atsui. Hey Darui, won't your dad like to know that someone who possesses multiple bloodlines? C asked curiously. Yeah, I think so, said Darui. With the team from Iwa. Great we got to deal with, said Kuritsuchi. It's surprising that he possessed multiple bloodlines, said Hojo. The Tsuchikage will want to know someone like is here, said Akatsuki. Yeah, no kidding, said Hojo. Hopefully Grandpa got a plan to deal with this, said Kuritsuchi. Back with the Konoha ninja. His a bit well-informed form, Naruto thought. The info Kabuto had on him was the same as the one that many villages had on him in their records. No way. Why would the Hokage allow someone like him enter the exams, Kiba said. Hey, I'm just reading what's on the card, said Kabuto. After everyone had gotten over the shock about Naruto, Zarif Kabuto then went on to explain how the top genin from Konoha, Kiri, Kumo, Suna, Aim, Kusa, Taki, Getsu and a small recently new shinobi village Oto were here. Suddenly Naruto sensed an incoming attack toward the large group of genin, and he wasn't the only one who sensed the incoming attack, as so did Kabuto. Both of them turned around to find a sound nin with spiky, dark hair jumped in the air using one of the benches and leveraged a couple of kunais at them, which they easily dodged. Suddenly, a second sound nin appeared in front of Kabuto, whose face was completely covered in gauze, only leaving his left eye uncovered and with a strange device on his left arm. It seemed to Naruto that the focus of attack of the sound team was Kabuto. He watched with interest as the sound mummy nin swung his left arm in the face of Kabuto, which the elder boy dodged with ease. Whilst all the others looked amazed at the reaction time of Kabuto for dodging the attack, Naruto felt disturbance in the air between Kabuto and the sound mummy nin, which made him narrowed his eyes. He wondered the reason for the disturbance air between the two ninjas. His eyes narrowed when he saw the glass of Kabuto's glasses cracked and fell to the ground. Naruto looked at the sound genin who had swung his arm at Kabuto. He is equipped with earmuffs and his arm has a metal gauntlet, Naruto thought. The only thing that has physical ability to strike yet remain unseen is the air or the sound. What's going on? You definitely avoided that punch. Why did you glasses break? Spoke Sasuke as he stood forward, with an annoyed and confused expression on his face. This question was of course shared by many of the others, who were watching the incident and unlike Naruto didn't know what truly happened, but just when everyone thought that was it, Kabuto fell to his knees and threw up, which received many more worried and confused looks from all the different genins. It seems that you're not as good as I thought you would be, given that you are a veteran of the chunin exam, spoke the gauze-wearing boy named Dosu, who stood in front of Kabuto with the rest of his team. Write this in your card. The 3 genin from Otogakure will definitely make it to chunin, spoke the black spiky-haired boy named Zaku. As Zaku said this, many of the others in the room stared at Dosu and his teammates, with some curiosity over how Dosu took Kabuto out, after he dodged Dosu's punch. I will not accept that kind of behavior in here, got that? A figure that was one with the smoke that had been born within the room said sternly, glaring at the students. He leaked out a dose of his killing intent to make his point. The killing intent prompted the genins to nod vigorously. The figure smiled. Alright you maggots, take you sits now, he said in a firm voice, making the genins hurry up to take their sits. The genins took each of their assigned sits and looked back at the man in front of the room. I am Morino Ibiki. I am the proctor of the first test of the chunin selection exams. The proctor introduced himself to the genins. Those who do not follow my rules will automatically fail, he said as he released a burst of ki, scaring some genins in the room. After Ibiki and the other chunin examiners arrived, they quickly took charge of the room, where they had everyone quickly take seats. When Naruto's name was called out, he found himself being seated next to Hinata, which of course he did not mind, although the young Hyuga girl was very nervous sitting next to someone as dangerous as Naruto. After everyone was seated, Ibiki began to explain the rules of the test to everyone, where much to everyone's surprise they found it to be a written exam. Ibiki also then went on to explain that cheating was strictly forbidden, where the other chunin examiners would be watching them closely, and if they were found cheating 3 times, then they would be disqualified from the exam. Once he had explained the rules, Ibiki then handed out the exam sheets and stated that they had 1 hour to do the paper, where upon hearing this, all the genin immediately began writing. When the exam started, Naruto looked over the questions and found them easy, but he could tell that they were supposed to be difficult for the others, and Naruto thought that if they were only a few people who were taking the test and could answer them correctly, then the others were forced to cheat their way. Once finished, Naruto just sat there and waited. He watched several other teams being caught by Ibiki and the chunin examiners, where they were automatically failed and sent out of the room. By the time of the last 5 minutes of the exam, about a third of the room had been emptied. When the time had come for the final question had come, Ibiki spoke. Well, now it seems that it's time for the final question, although I have to say there are more of you than I thought there would be. But still there is one thing that I did not mention earlier when I explained the rules of the test to you, that rule being that you can choose to take the 10th final question or not. Upon hearing this, the examinees were of course surprised and slightly confused at what Ibiki was saying. Choose to take the 10th question, what the hell do you mean by that? Asked Tamari. It's simple really, if you choose not to take the exam your points from this exam will be reduced to 0. Where both you and your teammates will automatically fail the test, explained Ibiki. Then what's the point of giving us the choice? Of course we're going to take the question, stated a genin from Kusa. Well, you see there is actually more to this rule, replied Ibiki, which made the examinees more nervous. For if you do the 10th question and you get it wrong, you'll not only just fail the exam, but you'll also lose your privilege for taking the chunin exam forever. What the hell kind of dumb is rule is that? Kiba said as he stood up and pointed accusingly at Ibiki. There are people who were a part of the chunin exam in the past, so how can it be part of this year? At this, Ibiki just chuckled darkly, making many of the genin nervous. I'm afraid to tell you that you all were unlucky, as this year, because I'm the one making the rules, which is why I am giving you all the option of quitting, replied Ibiki, and then continued. Those of you who are not confident in answering the final question can quit now and take the exam next year and the year after that, stated Ibiki, before chuckling darkly again. I highly doubt that the other villages would agree to something like this, and if by the small chance that you're telling the truth, there is still another way to become a chunin besides taking this exam, like being promoted by your cage for your actions on duty, so I have nothing to worry about, said Naruto. After hearing this, Ibiki looked around the room, since after Naruto's little speech, the frightened and uncertain looks that were on many of the faces turned to looks of confidence and determination, the direct opposite of what they were a moment ago. Upon seeing how the atmosphere had been completely changed by Naruto's speeches, the Konoha interrogator couldn't help but smirk. So this is the member Naruto Otsusuki, pretty interesting kid. He completely wiped out everyone's uncertainty. 80 genin, More than I expect, but still, since you all seem ready to take the question, I've only one thing to say, you all pass. Ibiki announced. After hearing this, the genin were of course surprised and confused at what Ibiki had said. After getting over her surprise, Sakura imminently took up and spoke. Wait, what do you mean by we passed? What about the 10th question? At this, Ibiki smiled. The choice to take the question was the 10th question, as there was no actually question to begin with. So what were all those other questions, were they all just a waste? Asked Tamari, with annoyance, at how they had been all duped. No, they had a purpose as well, they were all to test you information gathering skills, explained Ibiki, where after seeing the slight confused look on some of the genin's faces, he went on to explain the objective and goals of the first test, and how they were all tested and how the test involved skills needed to be a successful chunin. During the explanation, Ibiki even removed his bandana to reveal all the scars on his head that he received from being tortured, showing what you've to go through, to keep the secret of your village from its enemies. Once the explanations were finished, a round object suddenly burst through one of the windows, after which a large banner with the words, "Second Examiner, Mitarashi Anko is here," appeared in front of Ibiki along with a tall violet-haired woman. who wore a tan overcoat, complete with a fitted mesh bodysuit that stretched from her neck down to her thighs along with a dark orange miniskirt. Upon her arrival, the woman named Anko cried out, "I am the single second examiner Anko Mitarashi, now let's go to the next exam." After which Anko then pumped up her fist into the air and shouted out, "Follow me." At this, everyone in the room just stared at her with looks of disbelief. "You really need to learn to grasp the atmosphere, Anko," stated Ibiki as he stepped out from behind the banner, with a dull look on his face, where the violet-haired woman blushed in embarrassment. As Naruto looked at Anko, whilst unlike the most of the other guys in the room who were admiring Anko's looks and body, Naruto was more forced to the dark chakra coming from the right side of her neck. So she's Orochimaru former apprentice, thought Naruto. So that's dad's former appreciate, thought Log. After getting over her embarrassment, Anko counted the number of remaining genin, where she found that there were 8 genin left. "Ibiki, you let 26 teams pass? Your test must have been too soft," said Anko. "Or that there were quite a number of excellent genin this year," Ibiki replied. Well, it doesn't matter," Anko replied before a sinister grin approved on her face, "as I'm going to make more than half of these teams fail the next test." Upon hearing this, many of the genin became nervous, especially given the sinister-looking smirk that appeared on her face. "Now everyone to the training ground 44. Be there in 20 minutes or you will fail. Let's go," Anko said, and everyone follow right behind most boys who were checking Anko's ass. Outside of the Forest of Death. The Training Ground 44, also known as the Forest of Death, is one of Konoha's deadliest training ground, reserved only for chunin, jonin and anbu. The forest itself was home to various plants and deadly animals from big spiders to gigantic bears and tigers. The Forest of Death is the traditional place for second round of every chunin exams done in the leaf. The chunin exams are hosted in various countries and rotated. Every 4 years the chunins happen in the leaf unless something happen in the village that it is supposed to be held at. To everyone from Konohagakure, the Forest of Death, as the name says, it's hell and one place you don't come near, but obviously this doesn't apply to the crazy snake lady, also known as Anko. To her, this place is her home away from home and the reason she is always in charge of the second round. Of the original 200 applicants to the chunin exams, more than half were failed in the first task. Now we are currently at the entrance of the Forest of Death. "This place gives me the creeps," said Sakura, nervously holding onto Sasuke's right shoulder as she looked at the dark forest. "All right, maggots. This is the place for your second test, Training Area 44, or better known as the Forest of Death," said Anko. Just then Naruto and his teammates sensed someone with high levels of chakra entered the group, and it felt dark, and Log was all too familiar with who it was. So he's pretending to be a genin to get close to Sasuke, thought Naruto. So he really is here after all, thought Log. And soon enough you kids will find out soon why this place is called the Forest of Death, Anko said with a sinister smirk, making most of the genins gulped out of fear while some just shuddered it off. Naruto could tell that Anko liked to plant seeds of fear within the hearts of the other people. "Oh yeah, before we start I would like you to sign these papers," Anko said as she held a paper in her hand. The genin looked at her curiously. "In this test there will be killings, and I don't want to be responsible for your deaths, so you have to sign these waivers." The genin looked at her, some thinking they should quit. They were going to do the second test in a place called a Forest of Death, and now there was going to be some killings in the forest. It was too much for some genins. "I will explain the test before you sign the waivers. This test will be a survival test. The Training Ground 44 has locked gates, a river, forest and a tower at the center. From each gate there is about 10 kilometers until the tower." Anko then paused for a moment to allow her words sink in. "In this training ground you will compete in an all-out, no-rules scroll battle. Each team will be given one heaven or earth scroll. For a team to pass you have to present both heaven and earth scrolls to the tower in the center of the training ground. There is a time limit. You have only 5 days to get into the tower with both scrolls to pass the test. If you arrive after 120 hours you will fail the test. There is not quitting once you enter the training ground. You will be in there for 5 days." Anko announced to the listening genin. "What do we do about food?" Choji asked while eating bag of chips. He was very worried that he would have to be trapped in the training ground without his favorite food, barbecue and chips. "The forest is full of food. All you have to do is avoid man-eating bugs, poisonous insects and plants." The genin shuddered at the thought of being eaten by bugs. The forest was indeed a scary place. The forest will be full of enemies, so if you get to the tower faster with both scrolls you will avoid enemies. She paused for a moment before going on. Now let's get on to who gets disqualified. The first I have already told you, which is not being able to get to the tower with both scrolls and in time, she said as the genin nodded. Second is those who lose a teammate or a teammate gets killed. Lastly, you must not open the scroll before you reach the tower. As chunin you be expected to courier important documents. This will be a test to your trustworthiness. She finished her explanation to the genins. Come over here and take the waivers and sign them. Anko ordered as the genins went over to her and took the waivers to sign. Some were hesitant to do it at first, but every single one of them eventually did sign them, and they then handed them back over to Anko, who then given each team their scroll, but either heaven or earth scroll, which she made sure that no other team would know which team held the scroll that needed to pass the exam. This was to avoid any team going after a specific team, and it would also cut down numbers because a team would take a scroll from another team they have defeated even though it is the same as theirs. She did not tell them that, they did not need to know it. Final word of advice before you lot head out, don't get killed. She said with a maniacal grin that made many of the genin think that she actually wanted them to kill each other. Each team went away to their assigned gate and got ready for the second part of the chunin exams. Inside the Forest of Death. So how exactly do you want to do this? Yato asked curiosity. Swift and quickly, said Naruto before he turned his attention to Log. Did you get the intel? Naruto asked. Yes, I had one of my snakes secretly watch and I know which team has what scroll, said Log. Good, then we will target the nearest team with the earth scroll that we need understand, said Naruto. And what exactly are your plans for him? Log asked curiosity. Don't worry, I remember my promise that I made to you, Log. You'll be the one who will kill him if I have any say in the matter, but at your current strength you don't stand a chance against him. Sure, you would be able to do some good damage to him, but he would win and take you away with him, said Naruto. I understand, said Log. That being said, it would be useful if I use invasion on him and get to know more about his plans, and with it I'll use to my advance, thought Naruto. It's Gauther from the 7 Deadly Sins magic ability, but in this story it's similar to the Yamanaka clan mind techniques. Now which is nearest team to us that has the earth scroll? Naruto asked curiosity. That will be a team from Uzushiogakure, said Log. Then let's go and get ourselves a earth scroll, said Naruto. With team from Kusa. An injured Kusa shinobi was sent flying into a large tree next to his teammate. Another injured Kusa shinobi, whilst their kunoichi was next to Naruto unharmed, and reason why when Naruto's team located the Kusa team they found the male team members bullying the kunoichi, and from what Naruto could sensed from the kunoichi she had a unique chakra, and when one of the Kusa shinobi bit the kunoichi Naruto could sensed his chakra, which was at a low amount from being used to increase their speed, was refilled. So Naruto had Log and Yato beat both Kusa shinobi whilst Naruto rescued the kunoichi, and as he did he got curious about the girl's ability, so he used his invasion ability, a mind-based jutsu that doesn't require hand signs, and as he did he discover about the girl's name was Karen in her past and how she was being used as nothing more than a tool. But what was shocking was that he found out that her mother was originally from Uzushiogakure, and after its destruction she fled to Kusa, and in exchange for her safety she would use her unique chakra to heal their injured shinobi, and Naruto saw how her mother was used so much that it killed her, and Karen had an older sister named Tayuya who mysteriously disappeared, which made Naruto wondered. After seeing what Kusa has done to Karen's family, it made Naruto wondered that Kusa had something to do with it, so Naruto decided something must be done for the crimes that Kusa has done to his fellow clan members. Yes, I am making Tayuya Karen's sister. You people disgust me, Naruto said angrily, which shocked Log and Yato as they never seen Naruto angrily before. What do you mean? The one of the Kusa shinobi said, scare. You use her as nothing more than tool, Naruto said as he was walked towards the 2 Kusa shinobi. Why do you kind what's happened to her? The other Kusa shouted angrily. Because I am from the same clan as her. Naruto shouted angrily. We're from the same clan, thought Karen. Wait, nobody told us that you're related, the scare Kusa said. And it doesn't change a thing if you did know, because you still use her like a tool, said Naruto. Naruto pointed his right hand and suddenly lightning shot out of his fingers' tips and it went through both Kusa shinobi chests, hitting their hearts, killing him. The way Naruto did it is similar to how a Kano Himejima use her lightning. After a couple minutes had passed, Yato decided to speak. Are you okay, Naruto? Yato asked worry. Naruto didn't say a thing. Instead he pointed a finger at Karen, who panicked, thinking that he was going to kill her as well. Instead, a little light shot out of his fingers, hitting Karen's head. This was also invasion broadcast technique, which allowed Naruto to transfer information to other people, and Naruto then created a shadow clones to take Karen back to the hotel that Naruto and the others were staying, and as the shadow clones walk over to Karen and teleported away with her. "Get the Earth Scroll and go to the tower, I'll be there soon," said Naruto. "Where exactly are you going, Naruto?" Log asked curiosity. "To let off some stress, and I know who to use," Naruto said, walking towards the dark chakra within the forest. Sasuke stared at the strange Kusa-nin that appeared not long after him, and Sakura went looking for another team to get their scroll, while Sai went off by himself to do the same, but Sakura didn't want to leave Sasuke alone. The Kusa-nin chuckled, looking at him like he was prey, and Sasuke could see the Kusa-nin's eyes were the eyes of a predator, with Sasuke as nothing more than prey, and the predator was staring at him in its glory. "Come at me with everything you got, Sasuke-kun," the Kusa-nin spoke with a grin. Sasuke did not want to be told twice. He charged at the Kusa-nin. The Kusa-nin blocked a kick that was directed to her temple by Sasuke. Sasuke tried to kick the Kusa-nin again, but his attempt was blocked again. Sasuke jumped back from the predator and activated his Sharingan. The Kusa-nin seemed to like seeing the Sharingan being activated. "Yes, that's it, Sasuke-kun, show me what you can do," she thought as she continued to chuckle mirthlessly, unnerving Sasuke. He dashed forward at her and attempted to punch her on the face. But the Kusa-nin leaned back to avoid his attack. Sasuke leaned forward and tried another punch at the gut, but the Kusa-nin jumped to avoid being hit. Sasuke dashed forward, not giving his opponent rest. He jumped up into the air and attempted to punch the Kusa-nin while Earth pulled him down. The Kusa-nin brought out both her hands and blocked Sasuke's attempt. She tried punching Sasuke on his chest, but Sasuke was able to see the attack thanks to his Sharingan. He jumped back to avoid being hit. The Kusa-nin rushed at Sasuke and tried kicking him, but Sasuke blocked the kick with his knee. Sasuke's right fist flew into the Kusa-nin's face, but she bended down to avoid the attack. Sasuke saw an opening and got down, attempting a leg sweep, but the Kusa-nin jumped, returning the favor with a kick to the face. He was able to see the kick coming, but he was unable to neither dodge nor block the incoming attack that Sasuke into a tree. Sasuke hit a tree with a grunt that followed after the impact. "Is this all you can do, Sasuke-kun? Even your Sharingan?" the Kusa-nin said while chuckling, earning a glare from Sasuke. He was trying to understand just who the person was. He could not land a hit on the person. The Kusa-nin did not wait for Sasuke to clear his thoughts. He dashed forward to the Uchiha. Sasuke was forced to dodge a power punch that shattered the tree branch he was standing at. The Kusa-nin charged at Sasuke again. They engaged in a taijutsu fight. Sasuke smirked as he got a hit at the Kusa-nin face. He did not stop there, he added a kick to the chest that sent the Kusa-nin flying. He continued smirking, thinking that it was not hopeless as he had thought at first. Sasuke did hand seals for his favorite jutsu, fire release. "Great fireball," he muttered as the fireball sped at the Kusa-nin. His smirk widened when he saw his jutsu hit the Kusa-nin. He ended his jutsu and saw the Kusa-nin standing there with his devilish grin placed on as if nothing had happened. His eyes widened in disbelief. It should not have been possible for someone to take on the jutsu head-on and still stand like nothing had happened. He watched in disgust as the skin of Kusa-nin's face began to peel off, revealing a more pale skin underneath. The Kusa-nin blurred out of view and appeared behind Sasuke. Sasuke was kicked hard on his back and sent crashing towards a tree. "Ah!" grunted as he hit the tree. He got panting and looked back at the Kusa-nin. The Kusa-nin looked at Sasuke with calculating eyes. Sasuke was indeed a skilled young boy. She had proven it, and her eyes liked what he had witnessed from Sasuke. "Stay back, don't come any closer," Sasuke stuttered out, seeing the Kusa-nin making his way to him. Orochimaru did not stop. He slowly made his way over to Sasuke with calculating eyes. "Do you want power, Sasuke-kun?" the Kusa-nin asked with a wide grin. Sasuke lost his fear and took a confused look on his face. He wanted power. What confused him was why Orochimaru would ask him the kind of question. The Kusa-nin stopped in front of Sasuke and spoke again. I know you want power to kill Itachi Uchiha Sasuke-kun, and I can give you that power. Sasuke's eyes burned with hatred the moment Itachi's name was registered to his mind. He hated nothing and no one more than his older brother Itachi. His neck extended in lengths that no human neck should extend. Two large fangs grew from his mouth as his head traveled towards Sasuke's neck. Sasuke just froze, not knowing what to do, as the Kusa nin's fangs became one with Sasuke's neck before Orochimaru retrieved his head. Sasuke let out a pained scream before falling down. Sasuke-kun! Sakura yelled out while rushing at the fallen form of Sasuke. She had heard his pained scream. It was not healthy. She ran to see if he was okay. The Kusa nin looked at Sakura with a wide grin. He chuckled darkly. He had achieved what he had come for and more. It was just a matter of time before Sasuke came to him looking for power. What did you do to Sasuke-kun? Sakura demanded, forgetting that the person in her front was a senin and could kill her in a second. She was just too angry that he had hurt Sasuke. The Kusa nin looked at Sakura with amused by her bravery. I simply gave him a gift that will help him avenge his clan. The Kusa nin replied. How interesting, a voice spoke up, and from the sound from it was above them. The grass nin and two genins looked toward voice direction to see Zeref standing on a tree branch watching everything, and he had an amusing look on his face. Well, why it is Zeref Otsusuki, and what are you doing here? The grass kunoichi asked, as she recognized the person from the bingo book. Orochimaru of the legendary Sannin? What are you doing here? Don't tell me that you were demoted to a mere genin. How pitiful, Naruto said, mocking tone. Sakura paled at hearing name, because why wouldn't she? Everyone has heard of Orochimaru, a genius shinobi who had trained by the third Hokage along with Jiraiya and Senju Tsunade. A man who considered the foremost ninjutsu expert, and along with his two other teammates, he had dubbed the title of the legendary Sannin due to their famous battle against Hanzo of the Salamander. He was also one of the Leaf's worst traitors, an S-ranked missing nin, who wanted for inhumane experimentation on citizens of the Leaf and most likely, many other villages and countries. Now then, why don't you remove that ruined face and show your really one, said Naruto. Funny coming someone who is wearing a mask, said Orochimaru. At least it isn't burnt like that face you're wearing, said Naruto. Very well, I will do what you ask, Orochimaru said. Remove the rest of the burnt face to reveal his true face. He has very pale skin, golden eyes with slitted pupils, purple markings around his eyes and fang-like teeth. He also has pronounced cheekbones and straight waist-length black hair with some locks covering and framing his face or to his shoulders. He was wearing gray garbs with a black polo and pants underneath, a thick purple rope belt tied in a large knot behind his back, blue tomo-shaped earrings, and shinobi sandals with bandages around his calves. It's good that you came, save me the trouble of hunting you down, Zeref, said Orochimaru. If you want me so bad, then here I am, and you better be ready for a major beatdown, as I'm in a bad mood right now, Naruto said angrily. Fire style. Fire god bellow, Naruto shouted as he breathed out a massive dark red fireball heading straight at Orochimaru, who managed to dodge it just in time, and as the smoke cleared, everyone was able to see the damage that it caused, and they were shocked by it because it had destroyed everything for a couple miles. What the hell is that? Kind of just you was that, Orochimaru thought. I never seen or heard of a fire technique like that. I must know obtain it, thought Sasuke. What kind of monster is this guy, and he's supposed to be our age, thought Sakura. I don't think I've ever seen this jutsu that powerful before. Very impressive, Orochimaru said. Well, thank you, but you should never take your eyes off your opponent, Naruto said, suddenly appearing beside Orochimaru, and he punched him in the face, breaking some of his teeth and damaging his face, and it had then sent Orochimaru flying into the trees. That strength of his, it reminds me of Tsunade's, thought Orochimaru. Don't tell me the great and powerful Orochimaru the White Snake is defeated just by one punch to the face, said Naruto. Ha ha ha, you wish it would be that easy, but now boy you will suffer, Orochimaru said before he changed at Naruto in high speed that made him look like a blur. However, to Orochimaru's surprise, Naruto managed to dodge his attacks, and as Naruto continued to dodge, he ready right fist, and he then turned it into steel thanks to his steel release, as well as channel his chakra into his fist, and Naruto punched Orochimaru directly in the chest, breaking and cracking some of Orochimaru's ribs and causing Orochimaru to cough out blood. Whilst this was happening, Naruto used his left left hand to shot out a small light from his middle fingertip which hit Orochimaru's head, which gave Naruto all the knowledge he need from Orochimaru, and Naruto then kick Orochimaru away before he place his right fist on his left hand palm, which then started to freeze the air around his hands. Ice make floor, Naruto said as he slammed his hands on the floor, freezing the ground for a mile that surrounded them. Then Naruto stenched his arms. Combination scorch explosion release, Naruto said as he fired multiple large orange flame orbs that surrounded Orochimaru. Interesting, and what exactly are these things? Orochimaru asked curiosity. A fuse of explosion style and scorch style, said Naruto. So he also possessed those bloodlines as well. Incredible. I have never met someone who was born with that many bloodlines before. If I'm not mistaken, when he punched his fist looked like it was made out of metal. Does that mean he also possessed steel release as well? Orochimaru thought, whilst also thinking all the experiments he could do if obtained some of Zeref's DNA. I bet if I touch them they will go off, and with them surrounded me it will be a problem to get past, and I can't go underground thanks to him freezing the floor, thought Orochimaru. I can tell what you're thinking. You're correct. If you touch them they will go off, but they will also go off automatically as well, said Naruto. As one of orbs behind Orochimaru went off, creating a large explosion, it caused another orb to explode and another after that, and together they created a massive explosion. Combination technique. Chain explosion, Naruto announced. As the smoke cleared, it revealed Orochimaru, who was bleeding badly and was damaged all over his body, with his right arm missing, having been destroyed from Naruto's explosion attack. You are really something. I wouldn't mind having you as a vessel, Orochimaru said as he opened his mouth to inhuman proportions and spited out another Orochimaru that wasn't damaged, left the skin of the old behind. That was one of the most disguising thing I have ever saw in my life, Naruto thought. I better leave before Konoha gets wind of me being here, thought Orochimaru. I would like to keep going, but I have other things to attend to, Orochimaru said before he disappeared. Well, I better be going, Naruto said as he was about to walk back to the tower. Wait, Sakura shouted. What is it? Naruto answered. Do you know what that man did to Sasuke-kun? Sakura shouted. Yes, I do know, said Naruto. Then tell me what is it so can help Sasuke-kun. Sakura shouted. No, I won't tell you, said Naruto. Why not? Sakura shouted angrily. Because why should I, said Naruto before he disappeared, not wanting to deal with Sakura fangirl attitude. How dare he refuse to tell me how to help Sasuke-kun? Sakura shouted angrily. How is he so strong? I'm a member of the Uchiha clan. I should have that power, not some mask-wearing nobody, thought Sasuke. Just then Sai came out riding an ink lion. Hey guys, I managed to get 2 scrolls, 1 earth scroll and 1 heaven scroll, said Sai. Thank goodness, at least we'll pass this part of the exam, thought Sakura. With Anko Mitarashi cursed under breath as she leapt through the forest. It was already dusk, and there had still been no sign of her target, her former teacher Orochimaru. It's almost nightfall. I must find him quickly. Once it gets totally dark, I will be at further disadvantage against him, Anko said aloud as she traveled. But why is he at the time like this? What is his planning? She chuckled and shook her head as she leapt the tree to tree. The only sound she made with each leap being her own breath. Well, it makes no difference, she went on. If you have come to this village, then we will settle this thing now. You are now the bingo book level S dangerous person. She jumped from branch to branch, not making a sound. I must stop you even if it costs me my life. And if that's not possible, I must slow you down until the Anbu arrives. However, just then she pained from the right side of her neck and she heard a creepy laugh from behind her. She quickly turned around and saw him, Orochimaru, just standing there with an amusement look on his face, seeing his former apprentice. It's been a long time, Anko-chan. You can cut the pleasantries, Orochimaru, as you're a wanted S-class criminal and I am going to kill you, even if it cost me my life, spoke Anko with the utmost seriousness, where 4 senbon needles appeared out of her right-hand coat sleeve and into her hand. It is my duty after all. I was once your student and I learned everything I know from you, continued Anko, where she then prepared to throw her senbon needles at the former Sannin. Orochimaru of course just smiled at this, where he then spat out his tongue, which stretched to an impossible length and headed straight for Anko, who quickly jumped up into the air to avoid it and landed on the trunk of another tree opposite the one that Orochimaru had merged with, where she channeled her chakra to her feet to keep from falling off the tree. Sadly though, Orochimaru's tongue followed after her, where it then wrapped itself around Anko's right arm and pulled her back onto the tree branch she was previously on. Anko although quickly countered by holding out her left hand and the cried out, hidden shadow snake hands, after which several snakes erupted from the sleeves of her arms and flew towards the snake Sannin and pulled him out of the tree trunk. "There's not a chance in hell that I'm going to let you escape," cried Anko as she pulled Orochimaru towards her and slammed him into the tree behind her and retracted her snakes. Once she had retracted her snakes back into her sleeves, Anko then pinned Orochimaru to the tree by piercing both their left hands together with a kunai, while at the same time she took hold of his other hand with her right and formed a seal with them. "I have you now," said Anko with a smile, as she saw the realization dawn on Orochimaru when he recognized the seal. "That's right, you and I are going to die together here," said Anko, as she prepared her jutsu and thought, twin snakes mutual death technique. But before she could finish the jutsu, she suddenly heard Orochimaru speak from behind her. "I'm afraid you will die alone here, Anko-chan," Orochimaru's voice said behind Anko. Surprised at this, Anko quickly turned around, where at the same time, the night moon came out from behind the clouds, showing Orochimaru standing directly behind her. Seeing the confused look on his former apprentice's face, Orochimaru decided to explain, "I'm afraid all you have there is a replacement." Hearing this, Anko quickly turned around and saw that the Orochimaru that she had caught was indeed a clone, where when she turned it immediately reverted into mud, revealing it as a Earth-style shadow clone. "You shouldn't use the forbidden technique that I taught you, Anko-chan, since you're one of Konoha's Tokubetsu Jonin now," said Orochimaru with a smile as he slowly walked to Anko. Angered by how she had been tricked by the former Sannin, Anko quickly pulled the kunai she had stabbed herself with and threw it at Orochimaru. But before it could hit the Sannin in the head, he caught it with ease between his two front fingers. "It's useless, Anko-chan, you don't have the power nor the skill to defeat me," said Orochimaru, where he then did a single one-handed hand seal and activated Anko's curse seal, causing the young woman to fall to her knees in pain. After Anko fell to her knees, Orochimaru slowly walked up to her and lifted her head up slightly so that he could look her directly in the face. "Why have you returned?" asked Anko as she tried to fight the pain. "I must say, I'm actually disappointed of you, Anko-chan. We haven't seen each other in years and you have done nothing but treated me so coldly," taunted Orochimaru. "Have you come here to kill the fourth Hokage?" asked Anko, as she held her left shoulder. "Oh no, as sadly I don't have enough followers to attempt that just yet," replied Orochimaru with a smile. "I actually came here to observe and test a young genin here, who has shown more promise than you did, so I placed my curse seal on him," said Orochimaru. "You monster, you did that to a genin," stated Anko. "I am certain the boy will survive, however there is another that caught my attention greatly," said Orochimaru. "Someone caught your attention," said Anko. "Yes he did, and he is something else," asked Orochimaru as he cupped Anko's face. "You just can't forgive me for using and tossing you aside, can you?" At hearing this, Anko glared angrily at her former sensei, as she remembered how he used her. "In many ways, both boys show ever more potential than you did," explained Orochimaru. "For you see, one of them has inherited unique abilities of the Uchiha clan, while the other has both abilities and skills far beyond his years and could become someone who could change the world in the future," said Orochimaru. At hearing this, Anko's eyes widened in surprise, as she quickly realized who the other person Orochimaru was talking about. "You mean Naruto Otsusuki?" said Anko. "Oh yes, Zerf-kun especially shows a great deal of power, way beyond what Sasuke-kun, as I don't think I've ever seen so much raw potential and power in one person before. Either he or Sasuke-kun could become perfect candidates for my plans in the future," answered Orochimaru. "Getting a little greedy, aren't we? Going after two genin at once," taunted Anko. "Perhaps, but it would be such a waste not to," replied Orochimaru with a smile, after which he then stood up and started to walk away from Anko. "I will keep close eye on them." As Orochimaru walked away, he then suddenly turned around. "Also, whatever happens, do not cancel the exam. 3 of my followers are taking part of the exam and I look forward to see how they fare. Should you cancel the exam, then Konoha's fate is sealed, and I will destroy it far sooner." Once Orochimaru had said this, he then turned away from Anko and disappeared in a whirl of purple flames, leaving Anko alone. Orochimaru, Anko yelled, but her former sensei had already gone from there. She rushed toward the tower to inform the 4th Hokage about this new development. That's all for my now. If you enjoy, then please like, share and do comments.